watching, and I think I'm probably both of them. Test, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Test, 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's turn this up a little bit here. Test, test, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That was audio is up all the way. Let's turn that up. Turn that down so I don't blow my ears out. Turn that up for the moment. Test, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can also bring that up if that helps. Test, test, 1, 2, 3. Test, 1, 2, 3, 4. Test, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's try. Scrimmage. Let's try this. See if I can listen to two things at the same time. Test, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Defensive player here.
Delaware State's defensive player of the year?
No. As a high school player, he was the high school defensive player of the year in Delaware. Defensive end? I have no idea. Whatever a guy that big plays. Whatever he wants to. I think, yes. Yeah. Test, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Test, 1, 2, 3, 4. Test, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Test. All right, that's on. I should be hearing something. Test, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 11:45. Test, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's very weird. Am I not on?
Oh, I didn't see the end of that. It got ugly? Really?
Test, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Test, 1, 2. All right, that's fine. Test, 1, 2, 3. Get rid of that. Fine, go away. Test, test, test. Oh, there it is. It's very quiet. All right, well, let's turn that up. Turn it up this way. Seems weird that I would need it that loud. Test. Delaware Valley and Wesley, audio check, audio check. Oh, you know what? It might be this. Let's see if this makes a difference. It could be the headsets. Test, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's the difference. Test, 1, 2, 3. Check, audio check. test. 1 2 1 2 3. Well, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning for at least a few more minutes, and welcome back to the NCAA Division III football playoffs as the second round of action kicks off here in Dover, Delaware, and the Delaware Valley University Aggies find themselves on the road again, taking on the Wesley College Wolverines. Gordon Mann flying solo this week. Keith McMillan joined us in the booth last week, but he's off to cover another game, and so we'll bring you this one, the matchup between two regional rivals who have played a handful of very memorable games, including a quadruple overtime matchup earlier this year, a game that was basically a tale of two games. Through regulation, it was 3-3. The teams were not able to score. Both teams were only in the red zone, I think, once on their opponent. Wesley came away with a field goal, and Delaware Valley ended up having an interception. But then once the teams got to overtime, the scoring was fast and furious, and Wesley ended up winning the game 24-18 in quadruple overtime. Delaware Valley scored and went for two and got the 2-point conversion, but then Wesley scored, and Ruhan Peel just snuck inside the right pylon to keep the game going. Wesley would score again, and then the Del Val was picked off on the ensuing possession. But a very memorable game, a 24-18 quadruple overtime Wesley victory that basically kept these two teams tied to each other in the national polls and in the regional polls throughout the season. Delaware Valley and Wesley have basically been their mirror image, and you would understand why, given how close that first game was. The Aggies somehow snuck in front of Wesley, so now the Aggies are number 9 in the country, and Wesley is number 10. But all of the pundits who picked this game expect it to be a close one, and we certainly hope they are right. Aggies with a guy back that did not play much in the first meeting between these two teams. Both teams have some personnel changes of note. For Delaware Valley, it's Anthony Nobile. Nobile has been playing the last 3 weeks, but he injured his shoulder on the kickoff against Wesley College and missed not just the rest of that game, but the next 6 weeks. Since Anthony Nobile has been back, his brother Michael, who was already very, very good, has been a terror. Michael now up to 27.5 tackles for loss. He's now second all-time in sacks as just a sophomore, so he's got 2 more years to get about 10 sacks and pass Kyle Guesswin for that honor. And barring anything happening to his health, that will clearly happen. But with Anthony Nobile back and Michael Nobile on the other side, the Aggies' defense has looked even better over the last few weeks. Last week, holding Bridgewater College to 41 rushing yards on the ground, a team that had been running for about 150 yards per game. So the Aggies certainly hope that Anthony Nobile will be the difference maker today and end up in a different result for Delaware Valley. For Wesley College, the difference maker is a freshman. It's a quarterback, and it's Drew Fry. Drew Fry played his first game last week, and he was phenomenal. 7 touchdowns for Wesley. He threw just four passes incomplete, 34 for 38. And he was fantastic. I know the fans who are on some of the websites and message boards have been calling for Drew Fry to start for a while. John Mullen was the starter for most of the season, and we saw a little bit of Mullen last year, earlier this week. Mullen and David Morocco were the two starters for most of the season for Wesley. But Fry got the call as a freshman last week and lit up Framingham State in the first round of the NCAA playoffs. Both teams, obviously, with wins in the playoffs. Wesley was at home, Delaware Valley on the road, and so now they are 2 of the final 16 teams left in the country. We'll keep an eye on the D3Football.com scoreboard for you and the NCAA playoff scoreboard for you. This is one of 8 games today. A bunch of them kick off at 12 o'clock. The winner of this game gets the winner of what is probably, at least in terms of rankings, the game of the day. Number 1, Mount Union, the multi-time national champions. They are hosting the number 5 team in the country, North Central, in Alliance, Ohio. Things get very regional in the NCAA playoffs. That's how you get 9 against 10 or 1 against 5 in the second round. And so Mount Union and North Central, the winner of that game If Mount Union wins, they would definitely host. If North Central wins, it would probably depend on who comes out of this game. Other games going on today, that's this bracket. The East bracket, which is what Delaware Valley and Wesley would traditionally find themselves in, but not today or not this year. Two undefeated teams, and Wesley's big rival, the Route 13 rivalry, Salisbury, is at home. They will use their spread option attack and take on the Union College Dutchmen. That game kicks off the same time as this one. Other side of that bracket has Brockport, College at Brockport, team that Delaware Valley played in the playoffs a couple of years ago. They're on the road at number 4 Muhlenberg, a team that Delaware Valley played in the playoffs just last year. So the last two teams to beat Del Val in the playoffs meet in Allentown today. Again, that kickoff is at 12 o'clock. 1 o'clock starts for 3 of the other 4 games. Defending national champions Mary Hardin Baylor, they host the Huntingdon College Hawks, who are one of just 2 unranked teams left. Brockport is the other. Number 3, Wheaton, the Thunder of Wheaton College. They'll host number 24, Central, in the suburbs of Chicago. Number 7, Wisconsin Whitewater. They host Wartburg, the Knights out of Waverly, Iowa. And then the late start, all games are 12 o'clock local. So this one's being played in Los Angeles. So it's a 3 o'clock start on the eastern coast. It's Chapman out of Southern California and number 8, St. John's of Minnesota. Right here, these two teams have a 4-3. Wesley has a 4-3 edge on Delaware Valley, and these teams have played each other a bunch when both were nationally ranked in the top 15. Took a few years off from each other, and then came back and have been doing it again. This was their 4th season of a 4-year deal. Delaware Valley won the first 2. Wesley won the second 2, and so they'll actually end up getting a rubber match against each other here in the playoffs, as the Aggies and the Wolverines are about 11 minutes away from kickoff. Let's get you the starters for both of these two teams so that we've got those as we get into the game action. For Delaware Valley, on offense, switch things over. The offensive line for the Aggies, junior left tackle from Warminster, Pennsylvania, that's Corey Shriver. The left guard is the senior from Perkasie, Pennsylvania, that is Nakis Childs. The center is Jeremy Adams. The right guard is the junior from Coltonek, New Jersey, Michael Post. And the right tackle is Michael Cooper for the Aggies. The Aggies' offensive line did a pretty good job the first time around, as Wesley has traditionally been able to get a lot of pressure on quarterbacks with just a 3 or 4 man front without using a lot of blitzes. It'll be incumbent on those 5 guys to keep Anthony Fontana clean and give the senior a chance to run the offense. Aggies starting wide receivers, same crew as last week. You've got Aaron Nelson, the junior out of Hempstead, Maryland, who only was targeted once last week, but is the team's leading receiver with 28 catches for 608 yards and 5 scores on the year. Juan Manigo, the senior from Windsor Hills, Maryland, and John Davis, who had the big week last week. Davis now 17 catches for 229 yards. He had 5 catches for 2 touchdowns last week in the victory over Bridgewater College. Aggies starting tight end is the All-American Dan Allen from Philadelphia. 33 catches for 6 scores for Dan Allen. He leads the team in receptions. In the backfield for Delaware Valley, same running back by committee that we've had all year. Dante Simmons, the junior from Bristol, Pennsylvania, will officially be the starter. And then Mario Nigro. And the 2 guys split the carries almost entirely evenly. Mario with 91 carries on the year. Dante Simmons with 103. Starting fullback for the Aggies is Nate Pauls. He's only carried the ball once, but he is a threat to catch the ball out of the backfield. Nate, a senior transfer from Hamilton, New Jersey. And then the Aggies quarterback is the senior and first-year starter after being a reserve in behind Deshaun Dorton for a number of years, Anthony Fontana. And Fontana's numbers are good this year, 167 out of 259. That is a 65% completion percentage. He's now thrown for a shade under 2,300 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. And the big key for Anthony today is to stay away from the interceptions. He's had 6 interceptions, but 5 of them have come in 2 games, 3 against Wesley and 2 against Bridgewater College last week. So incumbent for Anthony to take care of the ball because if this gets into a defensive struggle, the Aggies' strength is on the defensive side, and so you don't want to give away free possessions or short fields to the opponents. For the Aggies on defense, the defense has been outstanding this year, averaging less than 11.5 points per game, just 44 yards per game on the ground, 144 through the air, and holding opponents to a 27% third down conversion rate. Delaware Valley, one of the top-ranked statistical defenses in the country. A 3-4 set starts with the twin sophomore brothers who had their coming out party here against Wesley in the season opener last year, where Nobile had a handful of tackles for loss. Michael did, and Anthony did as well. And we said, whoa, who are these guys? And we've had a chance to watch them play over the last year and 9 games, and they were as good as advertised in that initial game. Michael and Anthony start at the defensive ends. Kenyon Jones, the MAC first team, all conference first team honoree, is your nose tackle, and their number's real good. Michael Nobile leads the country in tackles for loss with a shade under 30 stops. He's got 12 tackles for 12 sacks. Anthony Nobile, just his 7th game played, but 18 tackles, 3 for loss, 2 sacks, including 1 last week, and 1 touchdown on defense, as the Aggies have scored on defense in most of their games, including last week. Last week's defensive score came courtesy of Vincent DeLeo, and he leads the linebacking core, 3 seniors in the 3-4 set. You've got DeLeo and Ryan Barrett from Willow Grove, Pennsylvania on the outside, and then the interior linebackers, first-team all-conference honoree Anthony Tedisco, the junior, and from Ocean, New Jersey, and to his right, the senior from Brick, New Jersey, Billy Walsh. Aggies in the secondary, and this is where Del Val will get tested today. The safety is Blaine Netterman, who's got 5 interceptions on the year, including 1 last week. The junior, Dante Mason. Netterman's a sophomore, Mason's a junior. And then a sophomore and a junior at corners, Justin Harris and Jameer Pravard. And in the first game of the season against Wesley, Delaware Valley did a pretty good job on Ruhan Peel, the Wesley talented wide receiver, during regulation, but then Peel went berserk and play in the overtime period, and the Aggies had a lot of trouble covering him. So Delaware Valley, if they've got one soft spot on the defense this year, they have struggled against guys who run the deep pattern very well. James Gillespie from Widener and Ruhan Peel are the 2 best examples of that during the regular season. Last week, Bridgewater College did not really have anybody capable of running the deep route against Del Val, so that was not really an issue. It'll be incumbent on Pravard and Harris to keep Peel under coverage. So that's the Delaware Valley starting offense and starting defense. Let's get you the Wesley College Wolverines starting offense. Wolverines entered the game 10-1. They were runners-up in the New Jersey Athletic Conference, got an at-large bid and 5 at-large bids to the playoffs. By most accounts, Wesley was the first team in out of that at-large pool. And the team that they lost a game to very closely in the regular season, Salisbury, is the number 1 team in the region. And so another really good year for Chip Knapp, the head coach here at Wesley, and now in his 2nd season since taking over. He was the longtime offensive coordinator for Mike Drass. Mike Drass passed away in the offseason last year, and Knapp has taken over and pretty much kept things humming right along for the Wolverines. Front 5 for Wesley College looks like this. You've got the left tackle, Brandon Bradford, sophomore. Left guard is Josh Hughes. He's a senior. Greg Clark is the center. Angel Guerrero is the junior right guard. And Andrew Risper is the sophomore right tackle. So a relatively young line for Wesley as the Aggies come out of, their captains come out of the locker room. We're here on the home side of things. So we're in the press box on the home sidelines. Got the Wesley fans in front of us. Delaware Valley with a very good turnout on the far sideline. So unless they're really loud, you won't hear too much of them today. Back to the Wesley starting offense. The wide receivers are Ruhan Peel and Mike Cradle. The halfback is Cortez Simpson, and Chuck Simpson, a threat to does a little bit of everything. He was an All-American punt returner this year, although he's been held in check for the most part there. The tight end for the Wolverines, a couple of them, I guess Ricky Hess is out, so Jason Rigby and Jason Stewart are the starting tight ends. The running back is Abe Mansoray. Mansoray playing in place of E.J. Lee. Lee is the only running back this year to have a 100-yard game against Del Val, and the week after that, he got injured up at Endicott College. He has a medical red shirt, but he's out for the season, so it'll be Abe Mansoray and Marcellus Pack who have alternated starting duties for Coach Knapp's Wolverines. And then the freshman, Drew Fry, who we mentioned before. Drew's numbers last week, not a misprint, just outstanding. 32 for 38, 537 yards, and 7 touchdowns in his first collegiate start. He did have a handful of snaps also against Christopher Newport in the season closing game mixed in there, as the Wolverines are calling for their fans to make some noise, and now they oblige. Wolverines in the near, what would be the right corner of your screen, with their captains carrying the Wolverines and the American flag, and they come out of I'd say it's the locker room, and I guess, yeah, it technically is. It's a kind of a Spartan setup here at Wesley. Unlike Delaware Valley, this football field is off campus. Drass Field, about 3-4 blocks away from Wesley College, nestled in between a railroad track and a cemetery. As we get set for the national anthem.
Thank you for your service. And now, please rise, remove your hats and cover your hearts. And remember our brave men and women in harm's way as Wesley College alumni Holly Dunn sings our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets rather, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Well, that was a spine-tickling version of the national anthem there. Just absolutely outstanding, one of the Wesley College alums. And we are ready for football. Wesley College, 10-1, 6-1 in the New Jersey Athletic Conference, ranked number 10 in the country. Delaware Valley, 10-1, 8-0 in the Middle Atlantic Conference, ranked number 9 in the country. And Delaware Valley's only loss this season, a quadruple overtime loss at home to these Wolverines. 4 captains coming out for Delaware Valley. It's Corey Shriver. Number 25, that's Justin Harris. Number 35, that's Vincent DeLeo. And number 80, that's Dan Allen.
And number 76, Josh Hughes.
Josh Hughes, number 8. There's 2 number 8s for Wesley today. So one is the quarterback, Drew Fry. This is Corey Williams. Number 2, Ruhan Peel. And number 9, Marcellus Pack. There is, again, dual numbers all over the place for Wesley, but we think we'll be able to keep them straight. Wesley has won the toss. They have elected to defer till the second half. So for the 3rd straight week, the Aggies will get the ball to start the game. Last week against Bridgewater College, that worked out pretty well. They scored on their opening possession. Aggies won 30-22 last week. Defensive touchdown, salted things away late. Offense a little hit or miss for the Aggies last week, much as it's been all season. Defense was very good. And we are ready for this one. Aggies and Wolverines meeting for the 8th time in their program's history. Wesley with a 4-3 advantage. Wolverines will come out. Place kicker is Nick Brunn. Senior will kick it away. Aggies will send back 2 men to receive, Jameer Prevard and I would assume Ezekiel Ennis. It is Ennis and Prevard. Beautiful, beautiful day. No wind at all. probably in the high 50s to low 60s here. This does not feel like the second to last day or last day of November, but both teams will certainly take it in terms of the weather. Brown set to kick it away. Wolverines wearing their home navies. Aggies in the road whites. Brown approaches the ball, gets his foot into it. It is high and relatively short and fielded by Jameer Pavard at his 12. To the 15, 20, 25, 30. Pavard hurdles the kicker and lands at about the 42-yard line. Good return for Jameer Pavard. And Delaware Valley will start with the offense there. Gave you the Aggies offense earlier, so let's get you the Wolverines defense. Across the front, it's Will Scott and Tommy Tanner are the starting defensive ends. Shamir Vessels and Nick Glover are the defensive tackles. Vessels with 60 stops, 11.5 for loss, and 2.5 sacks this year. Linebacking core for the Wolverines, Mike Brewer, Dante Daniel, and Jay Holmes. We'll get you Daniel's numbers. He's the best of the bunch. Fontana goes shotgun on 1st and 10. Takes the snap, and he will throw and overthrow his intended target, Dan Allen, incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up. Linebacking core for the Wolverines, again, Holmes, Brewer, and Daniel. Daniel's got 89 tackles, 9.5 for loss, 4 sacks, 1 interception, and 8 passes broken up. The Wolverines linebackers are real good in pass coverage. Daniel has an interception and 8 passes knocked away. Mike Brewer has 3 interceptions and 2 passes knocked away. Get you the Wolverines secondary in a second. 2nd and 10 here for Del Val as Ezekiel Ennis comes in motion. Pass is thrown to Ennis. Ennis with the drop as the freshman has it shoot through his hands. And the Aggies 0 for 2 on their first 2 plays of the game. Bring up a 3rd and 10. Isaiah Mitchell and Ryan Clemens are the cornerbacks for Wesley. Marcus Gaspard and Corey Williams are the safeties. Williams had 2 interceptions against Del Val. He had 2 interceptions on the season. 3rd and 10 here for Del Val. An overthrown ball and a dropped ball on the first 2 plays for the Aggies offense. They have it from their own 40 on 3rd and 10. Fontana play action fake. Here comes the blitz. Fontana rolls out of trouble. Pass is thrown. Catch is made by Juan Manigo. Manigo is tackled after about a 6-yard gain, so that'll bring up 4th and 4, and the Aggies will punt the ball away. Aggies punter this afternoon, as it's been all season, is Bobby Miller. Miller led the conference in yards per punt. Cortez Simpson is back to return the punt. Miller off the front of his foot. Simpson eyes it, makes the catch at his own 15, and then gets blasted to the turf. Knocked flat by Tamon Williams, the senior, who levels Simpson. He's going to lose a yard on the return, and the Wolverines will take over at their own 15. Aggies defense quickly for you once again. Anthony and Michael Nobile, the defensive ends. Kenyon Jones is the nose tackle. Vincent DeLeo and Ryan Barrett, the outside linebackers. Anthony Tedisco and Billy Walsh, the inside linebackers. Pravard and Justin Harris are the cornerbacks. Blaine Netterman and Dante Mason are your safeties. Drew Fry, the quarterback, will go shotgun. He's got Abe Mansoray behind him. Actually, it's Marcellus Pack behind him. And Pack gets the carry on 1st down, bounces to the outside, squirts forward for about 2 before he's tackled. Dante Mason making the stop for Delaware Valley. Also in on the play, Vincent DeLeo. And so Marcellus Pack, we said Pack and Mansoray have pretty much alternated between, they have a 2-back set, much like Delaware Valley does. And the numbers are actually fairly similar to Simmons and Nigro as well, after E.J. Lee was lost for the season with injury. 2nd and a long 7, Drew Fry again out of the shotgun. He's got Cortez Simpson alone to the near side, and Fry fakes the handoff one way, Pack takes it back the other, and Pack wedges forward for about a yard, and that's it. I think Pack ran to the wrong side of Fry, or Fry held it to the wrong side, and by the time they got that worked out, Ryan Barrett was there to make the tackle, so 3rd and 5 coming up for the Wolverines. Ruhan Peel splits to the top of the formation. Justin Harris on him. And Cortez Simpson slots inside of Peel. Tight end comes in motion. Fry out of the shotgun again. Aggies show a 4-man front. Here's a flag. Fry throws underneath. Catch is knocked down by Billy Walsh. We'll see what the flag is. would be 4th and 5 coming up unless the penalty is on Del Val. Aggies played a pretty clean game last week, but both of these teams have had problems with penalties in the past. In prior years, they were 1 and 2 in the country in penalty yards. We had a game here last year where Wesley actually had a third and about 40 because of 3 personal fouls, which they incidentally converted for a 60-yard touchdown. Nick Brun on to punt the ball away. One thing with these short rosters is you don't really have a lot of extra slots, 58 spots, so Brun will do both punting and place kicking today. This one is kicked, caught by Tamir Barksdale, his own 41, and he gets hammered. Ball comes loose, but the play is long since dead. Wolverines say we have it, which of course you do because the play is dead. So Barksdale tackled at his own 41, and the two teams basically trade empty possessions. Barksdale, actually, they'll mark the ball forward to the 42. Second possession of the game coming up for Del Val. Both teams 3 and out on their first, both about a 5 or a 6 yard drive before it ended. Give you the Aggies offense here once again after this play. Fontana with Mario Nigro to his right. Trips to the top of the formation as Aaron Nelson starts in motion. And Fontana rolls in the direction of his trips. Pass is thrown into the sideline as Fontana did not see anything he liked there. Del Val's offensive line, Corey Shriver, Nikese Childs, Jeremy Adams, Michael Post, and Michael Cooper. Your wide receivers are Aaron Nelson and Juan Manigo. John Davis as well in the 3 wide receiver sets. Dan Allen is your starting tight end. Nate Paul's the starting fullback. Mario Nigro and Dante Simmons will split time at running back, and Anthony Fontana is the quarterback. Aggies 5th play from scrimmage, and they finally run the ball, and it's Dante Simmons who goes right up the middle. Bounces off a couple of guys, very close to midfield. Finally will be blown dead at the 49. But that is a 7-yard pickup for Dante Simmons. And the Aggies will have a 3rd and 3 from their own 49. $12:10 to play, no score, first quarter. So far, defense is as advertised. Aggies will have a 5 wide receiver set. Cooper Russell and Dan Allen to the top of the formation. Trips to the near side. Fontana out of the backfield on 3rd and 3. Drops back, has time, pass thrown, looking deep. He's got a man, and it's caught. 20, 15, 10, and down at the 7-yard line or so is Dan Allen. Tight end runs a post, and the Aggies have it 1st and goal inside the Wesley 6, they'll say. Williams makes the tackle, but Dan Allen is, no offense to Aaron Nelson, but by far the Aggies' most dangerous target. And the All-American tight end got one-on-one coverage, and he runs like a wide receiver, but he's built like a tight end. And the Aggies have it 1st and goal from the, they'll call it the 8. Mario Nigro gets the carry. Nigro up to about the 5, call it just short of the 4. 3-yard pickup for Mario on 1st down. Marcus Gaspard makes the tackle, and the Aggies' red zone offense has struggled this year, as we've mentioned. 35 scores in 52 attempts, 32 touchdowns. Again, they were 0 for 1 in regulation, or 0 for 2 in regulation against the Wolverines in their first meeting. 2nd and goal from the 5. Fontana with Simmons to his right. Fontana drops back, looks, fires. He's got a man, caught. Touchdown. It's Dan Allen again. Allen in the back of the end zone. 7th touchdown of the season for Dan. And the All-American tight end leads the Aggies into the end zone. It's 6-0 Delaware Valley.
10:40 remaining in the quarter. Del Val 6, Wesley 0.
Nick Restano on to attempt the extra point. School's all-time leader in that category. Snap is there. Hold for Lawless. Kick is away. It is up, and it is good. And so with 10:40 to play in the first quarter, we already have more touchdowns than we did the first time around. That's not hard to do because there weren't any. Aggies 7. Wolverines will get the ball back in just a bit. Kickoff coming here. Delaware Valley with a 7-0 lead. Second possession of the game. The Aggies strike pay dirt. Nick Restaino gets set to kick it away. And this is a spot where the short roster actually makes a difference because Colin Fasolka had been doing kickoffs for much of the year, but with just 58 roster spots, they're not going to use 2 on place kickers. Restaino gets his right foot into it. It's high, but somewhat short, and taken at the 8, 10, 15, 25, and down to about the 28, where the tackle is made by Dante Mason. The crowd mic, the person in front of me, is complaining about the other fans, so we're going to kill that. As entertaining as that is. No, I promise that was not me complaining about the other Wesley fans in the stands. Yeah. No, complaining that the Delaware Valley fans have more enthusiasm than Wesley fans early on was the complaint. So. Still early. Come on. 10:34 to play first quarter. And the handoff goes to Mansoray. Mansoray running a stretch play for about 3.5 before he's tackled. Ryan Barrett there to make the stop for Del Val, along with Dante Mason again. Mason very, very aggressive from his safety position. All-conference honorable mention. The Aggies, for the second time in 3 years, have all 4 of their secondary starters all-conference. Brevard, or rather Harris and Netterman were first team. Brevard was second team, and Mason was honorable mention. Drew Fry, 0 for 1 so far. 5th play from scrimmage here for the Wolverines. And it's going to be second at about 12 as the Wolverines jump. False start on the Wolverines. Andrew Risper, the sophomore right tackle, is the victim there. The Wolverines changed some personnel since the last time we saw them. I'm not sure whether that's injury or something else, but 2 new starters in the offensive line. Of course, when these 2 teams played each other, it was week 2 of the regular season. And for Wesley, it was basically week 1 because they played a non-D3 school in the first game. Handoff, and there is Ryan Barrett to meet Abe Mansoray, who gets flattened after a yard gain. And Mansoray pushing and shoving a little bit. These 2 teams, in the era of social media, the players know each other quite well, and there is actually some overlap in the recruiting. Wesley, most of their players are here from Delaware. Aggies have a handful from Delaware. But these kids seem to know each other fairly well. 3rd and 10 coming up for the Wolverines. 9:11 to play in the first quarter. Delaware Valley with a 7-0 lead. It's a 5 wide receiver set for the Wolverines. Fry drops back. He's got excellent protection. Throws underneath. Pass is dropped and picked off by Dante Mason. Through the hands of his wide receiver, and Mason with the takeaway. It's 1st and 10 Del Val at the 35-yard line, as that one's not really on Fry, as Cortez Simpson had his doinks off his hands and into the Aggies' breadbasket of Dante Mason. Mason's going to be marked down at the 37.
Aggies put the ball in play at the Wesley 37-yard line, 1st down and 10.
Now the Aggies with a chance to take a 2-score lead here early on. 8:59 to play. Ryan Norton and Dan Allen to the near side. 2 tight end set. Fontana will hand the ball to Simmons, to Dante Simmons. Simmons runs over a guy at the 30 to the 27, and Dante Simmons very close to a 1st down. Looked like he's shot out of a cannon, and the guy he hit is still down for Wesley and clutching at his right arm. Yikes. Simmons just lowered his shoulder, and shoulder-to-shoulder collision, and the Wesley player got the worst of it. It'll be 2nd and 1. Yeah, well, shoulder stinger is what they're saying. I think it's 22. Is that Gaspard? Yeah, it is Marcus Gaspard. Free safety comes out. Quasim Glover will replace him. 2nd and 1 here for Del Val. Ball at the Wesley 28-yard line. Aggies with a 7-0 lead about midway through the first quarter. Ennis comes out of his position. Fontana will drop back. Quick throw, catch is made as Juan Manigo is bear hugged by a couple of Wolverines. Corey Williams the first to get there, joined by Isaiah Mitchell. It is a first down.
Williams on the stop. First down, Aggies. Ball's at the 25-yard line.
1st and 10 for Delaware Valley at the Wesley 25. 3 wide receivers at the top of the formation. Backfield, other than Fontana, is empty at the moment. Now Ennis comes in motion. Fontana looks him off. Looking to his right, nothing there. Scrambling, looking, and just doinks it off the ground. Fontana, good decision there. Whatever he was looking for wasn't there, so they'll try it again on 2nd and 10. Take a look at the live stats for you here. So far, the Aggies outgaining the Wolverines 75-10. Fontana 4 for 8 for 57 yards and a touchdown. 4 wide receivers to the top of the formation. Dan Allen alone to the bottom. And Fontana looks at Allen. Allen makes the catch, is hit a bunch of times, plows out of bounds as Allen makes the catch at the 20. It'll be a pickup of 5 for Dan. 3rd catch of the game for the All-American. And it'll be a 3rd and a little more. 3rd and 5 for Del Val. Aggies did kick a field goal last week. It hasn't happened all that often, just 3 field goals all season. So I guess we can say that this may not be 2-down territory. But this would be the longest field goal of the year. Dan Allen's been the star so far. Caught a bomb and then a touchdown. He's slotted to the top of the formation. Ennis comes in motion. Fontana fakes to him, looking, wants to go to Allen, not much there. Pass thrown off the back foot as Allen just throws it away, and it'll be 4th and 5. One thing that Fontana has clearly been told is if there's nothing there, throw it away. That's about the 4th different time he's done that already. Don't force it. That's where he's gotten into trouble in the past, including last week. And we're going to get a 4th and 5 here for Delaware Valley from their own 22. I'm sorry, from the Wesley 22. John Davis, first action today. He checks into the top of the formation. 4 wide receivers to the top of the formation. Dan Allen alone to the bottom. Fontana will go shotgun on 4th and 6. Fontana pumps, play action fake, thrown. He had his man open and overshot Dan Allen. Pump and go, and Allen was open, and Fontana just missed him. Well, mark that one in the score sheet as Fontana misses a touchdown. Drew Fry back out there, 3rd possession. First time intercepted this year See how the freshman bounces back with Marcellus Pack as his tailback. Man in motion is Peel. Handoff goes to Pack. Pack with some good blocks, 25, close to the 30. Wolverines seem to get away with one there as the offensive lineman, Angel Guerrero, plows over the top of one of the Aggies well after the play was over. Trying to get back to the huddle. Someone says he flopped. That's certainly possible. 2nd and 1 here for the Wolverines, who are trying to get the play in through their tight end, Jason Rigby. Rigby, the tight end, brings the play in. 2nd and 1. Fry will throw it. Pass is caught. Wide receiver Peel makes the catch. He's running backwards, still backwards, and now he could be gone. 35-40, 45-50, and pushed out of bounds at the 40. Peel makes the catch, goes backwards 8 yards, and then evades 7 different Aggies, and here comes the flag for unsportsmanlike conduct. And that looks like it would be on Peel. Great play by Peel, but I think he may have cost himself 15 yards.
Stop the game. It's the fire.
Oh, well, let's see. There's a fire station nearby here. That is not artificial noise. Well, it is, but just not related to the football game. Well, every D3 stadium has its own little quirk, and here's Wesley's. So the Aggies with a 7-0 lead. The Aggies missed the chance to make it a 2-score advantage, as Fontana just missed Dan Allen wide open. So Peel gets the ball to the Aggies 37, and then the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty will take it back into Wesley territory at their own 48. First and 10 for the Wolverines, first down of the game. 6:02 and counting now. As the fire truck is gone, the penalty is assessed, and we are ready to go. Play clock winding at 20 seconds. Fry again out of the shotgun. I think that's Mansoray, the smaller of the two running backs, in behind him. Mansoray about 8 yards deep. And nope, that's Pack again. And Pack with a good run. And across the midfield into the Aggies territory down at about the 44. It's a pickup of, let's see, 7? Make it 8. So 2nd and 2 for the Wolverines, now driving, their 3rd possession of the game. First one to 3 and out, second one an interception. Aggies first one to 3 and out, second one a touchdown, but third one a missed opportunity, and the Wolverines looking to tie it now. Fry on 2nd and 3. Play action fake, and Fry will run. 40, 35, 30, and down inside Delaware Valley's 30 to the 29. Not sure if that was designed run or not for Fry, but certainly effective for the freshman. Pickup of 15 yards and a Wesley first down. There's a sign down there. One of the Wesley fans says, "Our Fry is supersized." Now Del Val has fries. They have Trent fries. freshman linebacker. 1st and 10 for the supersized Fry. Play clock at 6. And Fry with the handoff, bouncing to the outside is Pack. Switches hands, gets away from Barrett, and out of bounds for another 1st down for the Wolverines. The Wolverines having their way running the ball, as Pack was able to get away from Ryan Barrett. And 1st and 10 for the Wolverines from their from the Delaware Valley 15. Fry with Peel to the bottom of the formation. Simpson and Weddle, I think, to the top of it. Fry under pressure. Anthony Nobile was looking for a flag, nothing thrown, and Fry just scampers out of bounds for about a yard or so. Nobile got hit up around the top of the head. That'll be 2nd and 10 for the Wolverines. The Nobile brothers apply the pressure there. Michael Nobile had a quiet game the first time these two teams met. Don't know how much of that was because of his brother being out. 2nd and 10. Peel comes in motion across the formation. Fry hands it off to Pack. And Pack is not going to get anything this time. He tries to string it out. He's tackled at the 15. Excellent job by Ryan Barrett and Anthony Nobile, as Nobile shedded the block, and a man down. That's the Wolverines' tailback, who has not gotten up. It's Marcellus Pack down on the far sideline. Now he's up with his helmet off, so Marcellus will have to come out for one play. Ran a long way to get 1 yard. 3rd and 9 coming up for the Wolverines. Now, the Wolverines this year, while place kicking has always been an adventure for them over the years, they've lost games by 1 point or 3 points. Because of missed kicks this year, they've been pretty effective, and Nick Brunn is the senior kicker for them, is 10 for 14 on field goals. 3rd and 9, Aggies with a 7-0 lead. Wolverines with the ball at the Delaware Valley 14. Fry with trips to the near side, one man alone to the far side. Takes a snap, has lots of time, pass thrown, and overthrows his wide receiver badly as he fires it over the head of Simpson, and Michael Nobile is a little slow to get up. .252 to play. Wolverines will bring the field goal unit on. So Brune on to attempt the extra point for the Wolverines. Fry's numbers 1 for 4 for 33 yards. Snap is there, kick is away, it is up, and yikes. It is off and to the right as Brune shanks it, and the Aggies take over, leading 7-0. Well, we expected a defensive struggle here. So far, we've got 7 points. Not so in Salisbury. It's 21-21 with 3:58 to play in the first quarter. Dutchman and Seagulls lighten up the scoreboard. Seagulls scored 83 last week. Much stiffer competition this week. Handoff goes to Ezekiel Ennis. Ennis spins off a man and is splatted down at about the 22-yard line. One of these double numbers here for Wesley. Out there, Shamir Vessels, number 9. He is a little bigger than Marcellus Pack, the other number 9. 2nd and 8 for Delaware Valley, 2:19 to play. Fontana with Nigro in behind him. Nigro off the pitch. Nigro to the right side, hammers into the line, and not much there as he is pushed back. Jay Holmes, the first to meet him. Pickup of 1 for Del Val. It'll bring up a 3rd and about a long 6. 1:55 and counting here in the first quarter. Aggies scored on a touchdown from Anthony Fontana to Dan Allen. Wolverines drove into the Del Val 14, but unable to come away with any points. Fontana with a 4 wide receiver set. Drops back, throws it off for Simmons. Simmons at the 30, 33, and Simmons spun out of bounds, but not before Dante picks up about 9 yards in the Delaware Valley, first down. Gray Williams with the tackle. Fontana's now numbers 6 for 12 for about 71 yards. Team's virtually even in terms of total yardage now. Handoff goes to Simmons. Simmons will try and cut to the outside, makes a man miss across the 35 to about the 38. Simmons has looked better and better as the season's moved on here. He was second team all-conference, although he's a little hobbled here, so he's going to come out of the game. Pick up a 5 for Dante. Dante now 3 carries for 21 yards. Dante will be back next year. 44 seconds to play here in the first quarter. Aggies with a 7-0 lead at number 10, Wesley. And something happened. Flags fly. That will do it. Aggies on the power play there. 12 men in the formation. Almost got away with it, too. It took a while for them to figure it out. It'll be 2nd and 10. I've seen 1 or 2 times this year where a team was a man short, where they sent 10 guys out instead of 11. So clock starts again, 33 seconds, 20 on the play clock. Aggies lead 7-0. They're 2nd and 10 from their own 34. Ezekiel Ennis flares out to the near side. And another flag, and I think this is again on Del Val. Yep, false start. So back-to-back 5-yard infractions for Del Val before they can snap the ball. We'll make this 2nd and 15 from their own 29. And that should be the last, well, unless the Aggies want to see if they can get a snap off here. 9 seconds on the game clock. Play clock is off. Wind's not an issue, so I don't think, and it's not going to matter. Aggies are just going to let the clock run out. So the Aggies will need a 4th try to get off their 2nd down play here. But that is the way the first quarter comes to an end. The Aggies get a touchdown. Wolverines miss a field goal, and Delaware Valley with a 7-0 lead. Take a look at the NCAA.com scoreboard for you. Mount Union and North Central, that's a good game early. Purple Raiders of Mount Union 14, North Central 13, 14-10 to play in the second quarter. As we mentioned before, Salisbury and Union in an absolute shootout. It's 21-21 with 2:15 to play. Salisbury, number 6 team in the country, hosting there. Muhlenberg up a couple of scores on Brockport State early on. Muhlenberg 14, Brockport nothing. Start of the second quarter in Allentown, and everything else starts later on. Aggies right here will have a 2nd and 15 coming as they make the long jog from where they were huddled to the other side of the field. Thank you very much. First quarter statistics. Aggies 18 plays for 98 yards. Wolverines 14 plays for 90 yards. Aggies 2 of 4 on 3rd down. Wolverines 0 for 3. Most of the Aggies yards through the air. Most of the Wolverines yard on the ground. As Fontana fakes to Simmons, and Fontana will throw and overshoots everybody, thankfully, as I guess John Davis was the intended receiver, but that was about 10 yards over Little John's head and out of bounds. 3rd and 15 coming up for the Aggies as this drive is deteriorated into penalties and bad throws. That's right. Twins at the top of the formation. Allen alone to the bottom of the formation. Fontana out of the shotgun. And actually, I'm wrong. There's 4 wide receivers at the top of the formation. Fontana takes a snap. Fontana under pressure. He will look, and now he will look to run. And out of bounds at about the 33-yard line. Pickup of 2 or 3 for Fontana. And the Aggies will punt it away. But the onus back on their defense. Bobby Miller on to punt the ball away. Chuck Simpson back. Cortez is his first name, but he goes by Chuck. Bobby. Wolverines with no pressure, and a bad kick from Miller, which takes an Aggies bounce, a very friendly Aggies bounce, and wobbles down to about the 27-yard line. That ball bounced at the 40 and then went in the Wolverines' direction first, then on the second bounce, it squirreled its way down to the 27. Where the Wolverines will take over. Winner of this one gets the winner of Mount Union and North Central, and that game is now tied. I gave you a 14-13 earlier, but apparently North Central was about to kick an extra point. I think if Wesley wins, they would host North Central, but if Mount Union wins, they'll host everybody. 1st and 10 for the Wolverines. Marcellus Pack apparently okay. He's back out there. Fry, quick throw. Catch is made, and see where they mark him. Pretty close to a first down for the wide receiver there. That's Chuck Simpson with the catch and run. That's his best pattern, and still waiting to see if they mark it. Yeah, it is a first down.
First down, Wesley.
Second completion of the game for Fry. Yet to try anything over the top here. 1st and 10. Handoff. And Pack across the 50 to the 45. He's hit hard by Blaine Netterman, but not before he picks up 17 yards. And the Wolverines having all kinds of success running the ball here on Del Val's defense. Wesley was the only team to run the ball effectively against Del Val earlier this year. We thought that was largely E.J. Lee, but Marcellus Pack now has 9 carries for 57 yards. Fry with Pack in behind him again. Wide receivers at the top of the formation. This time Fry will throw. Catch is made. And wide receiver tackled very quickly. 5-yard gain there for Ruhan Peel. Bring up 2nd and 5. Second catch of the game for Peel. 2 catches for 38 yards. Again, a little surprised Wesley hasn't tried anything deep yet. But their players are so fast that they can turn short gains into big gains with regularity. Abe Mansoray checks in at tailback. And Mansoray will get the carry, picks his way forward, and he has got the first down. To the 35-yard line of Del Val. Michael Nobile makes the tackle, but little Abe Mansoray carries lots of players for 5 yards.
5 yards on the pickup. First down, Wesley. Ball at the 35-yard line.
Fry with Mansoray in behind him. And the halfback to his right. Fry under pressure, pass is thrown. Here's a flag. Catch is made. As this is a nice pickup, but I think this is all coming back. Ball is down to the 15-yard line, but looks like Michael Nobile was held by a couple of guys. Yeah, holding penalty on the Wolverines. Penalty on Brandon Bradford, the sophomore lineman. So Nobile doesn't get credit for any kind of play there, but marks the Wolverines back to their own 45, where it'll be 1st and 20.
First down and 20.
Wolverines bring Mike Creedle into the game. 5 wide receiver set with Abe Mansoray, who comes in motion. And handoff goes to Mansoray. Mansoray evades a couple of guys and then is drilled. And he is knocked flat by Dante Mason, who cuts the legs out from under him after about a 3-yard gain. It'll be 2nd and 17. Mansoray jittering around in the backfield there. Got to wear around Barrett, but Mason ends the run unceremoniously. Marcellus Pack checks into the game. Now he's going to split to the top of the formation, but I bet he's not going to stay there. Fry. See if they run the jet sweep here again. Nope, he does stay there. Fry dropping back. Under pressure from Nobile. Escapes Michael. Pass is thrown. Catch is made. And the Wolverines will have the first down. To the 30, to the 22-yard line. That is so much like Wesley there. You think you've got them beat. You think you've got it defended well, and they just dump it off to a guy who runs 20 yards in a blink of an eye. Chuck Simpson with the catch and run there, and the ball is at the Delaware Valley 23. So the Aggies or the Wolverines erase the 1st and 20 very quickly. 1st and 10. Fry doing the play call. Pack in behind him. Taking his time. 8 on the play clock. Trying to get the Aggies to jump. Now 4 on the play clock. 3, and they do get it off. Handoff goes to Pack. Pack bounces to the outside. Gets around Justin Briggs, and he's tackled around the 13. Justin Harris, sorry. Briggs is another guy. Blaine Netterman makes the tackle, pickup of close to 10, and the Wolverines running on the Aggies at will here. Wolverines with 92 yards on the ground already. Tight end checks in here. That's Ricky Hess, the 3rd tight end. As Pack comes in motion. Fry fakes the Pack. Pass is thrown, and it's batted and knocked away. Aggies got there. It was Anthony Nobile who got his arm on Fry's arm as he fired it, and then the linebacker Ryan Barrett makes the play on the ball. And 3rd and 1 here for the Wolverines, who have been inside the 20 once and came away empty-handed. 9:52 to play here in the 2nd quarter. And they're going to let Ruhan Peel run the Wildcat here. Fry is lined up as a wide receiver. Peel takes the snap, carries the ball, and I think he just does have the first down. Yep, he needed 1. He got about 1.5. So, little Wildcat formation there for the Wolverines. Bring up a 1st and just outside 1st and goal. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 12. Fry with Pack in behind him is the lone tailback. And Pack will get the carry, running to the right side, and he is dragged down in the backfield for a loss of close to 5. That's Anthony Tedisco who makes the tackle. And it'll be a loss of 3 for Pack, and it'll bring up 2nd and 13. Tedisco, 1st team all-conference, 2nd on the team in tackles. Like most of the Delaware Valley linebackers, they are built on speed. They're not huge guys, but they are very quick. So Fry will have Pack in the same formation. Well, he's in the same spot. The 2 wide receivers are now lined up right next to each other. That's Peel and Simpson. Fry takes a snap, play action fake, rolling, looking to the right side, under pressure. He evades Billy Walsh, still looking, throwing, and the ball is that caught? Yeah, that's a pickup of about 8 yards. As a great catch there. It looked like Fry was just trying to throw it away, but ends up being a 7-yard pickup. It'll be 3rd and about 7. Again, the Aggies with all kinds of guys around Fry, but unable to bring him down. He's a big guy, and he's elusive. And the Aggies, I don't think they even got a hand on him, despite all the bodies around him. It's 3rd and A long 7. Wolverines can get a first down without a touchdown. 8:01 to play. Aggies lead 7-0. Ricky Hess comes in motion. Pack to the left of Fry. Fry takes a snap. Here comes the pressure. Pass is thrown, and it is, should have been picked off by Mason. Should have been picked off by Mason as he was broken up by Ricky Hess, the tight end turned defensive back, who had to reach out there and knock Mason down to prevent that from being the second pick of the game. Very poorly thrown ball there from Fry, who threw to a guy who wasn't standing on his own 2 feet. Or anybody else's. Nick Brun missed the first one. Second one coming here. 25-yard attempt for Nick. Snap is there. Kick is away. It is up, and it is good. So with 7:45 to play in the first half, Delaware Valley leads. Aggies lead trimmed to 7-3. An impressive drive there for the Wolverines running the ball. Delaware Valley gives up 45 yards per game, but Wolverines have 90 yards already. We're halfway through the second quarter on the ground. But unable to convert once they get inside the red zone, at least convert a touchdown. They get the field goal from Brun, and it's 7-3. Brun's kick is high, fielded by Prevard in zone 10, 15, 20, 25. This one's coming back as Prevard is knocked down at the 49, but whatever there was, it was obvious because there's tons of flags all over the place. So, whatever it was, everybody saw it. And the Aggies will be pinned back inside their own 20, I believe. Holding. Antonio Mumford, the guilty party. And the ball will be marked at, not as bad as yeah. That'll be down at the 17. So Fontana and the Aggies offense, who sputtered on the last drive, will try and get things going. 7:38 to play. Del Val leads by 4 now. Handoff goes to Mario Nigro. No, it's Fontana. He fakes. He's got it to the outside. 25-30, 35, and pushed out of bounds, and he's going to get 15 more. And now here comes another flag, and that's going to be on the coach. That could be 2 penalties. That may be 30 yards of penalties. I didn't like the first call. I thought Isaiah Mitchell didn't take a particularly late shot. Sorry. But the coach getting in the grill of the official did not help. We'll see if there's 2. Nope, just 1. All right. Nice run by Fontana. The defensive coordinator there for the Wolverines is, Joe Bottolieri is the defensive coordinator, but that's not who that is. So the Aggies with a big gain and then a little bit of help. Second personal foul of the game on Wesley. Delaware Valley with the ball at the Wolverines' 45. Fontana dumps it off to Nigro. Nigro's stiff arm and pushed out of bounds at the 43. I'm not sure how that Fulford or Nigro got his hands into the face mask of the Wolverines tackler there, but nothing called. Second and 8 coming here for the Aggies. 7:05 to play. Aggies will jumble up their formation here. Paul's in front of Nigro. Norton comes in motion, and Nigro gets the carry. Nigro to the 40, 35, slams forward, still on his feet, backpedals down to about the 30-yard line. That is really well designed and exceptionally executed by Delaware Valley. Norton and Michael Cooper, 76 for Del Val, just completely paving the way so that Mario wasn't touched till he was 5 yards down the field. And little Mario does the rest by running over the top of a couple of defenders. So the Aggies with the ball at the Wesley 31, looking to answer the Wolverines' field goal with something of their own. Nelson, Davis, and Manigo to the far side. Near side is empty. Dante Simmons checks into the game. Simmons gets the carry, evades a man, 30, 25, spins forward, and going to be wrenched to the turf at the Wesley 25, and then Simmons gets punched in the face. Inadvertent, I guess, but probably didn't feel that way as Tom Tanner whacks him in the face mask. 2nd and 4 coming up for Del Val from the Wolverines 24. Fontana with Niagara to his left. Ezekiel Ennis comes in motion. Wolverines think he's getting the ball, and they're right. There's Ennis. He's got the ball, and he is gone. Touchdown, Ennis. And a fracas on the far sideline at the 10. But Ennis on the jet sweep, in for the score. And Delaware Valley pushes the lead even farther.
5:30 remaining in the half. Del Val 13, Western 3.
That is Ezekiel Ennis's first rushing touchdown of his career for the freshman. Snap is there. Kick is away. It is up, and it is good. And with 5:30 to play in the first half, Delaware Valley increases the lead 14-3. Well, going to have to kill the crowd mic there. Either that or we'll have to leave our email for the FCC to email us. Frustration on the sideline for the Wolverines, who watched the Aggies just go straight down the field with a rush, with an attack, and that was all running. I guess the run by Fontana, 15-yard penalty. Run by Nigro, run by Simmons, run by Ennis. Aggies and Wolverines. Again, compared to the first time these two teams played, this is a score fest. Remember, it was 3-3 at the end of regulation the last time these two teams played. Both teams missed a field goal otherwise in that game. Otherwise, it would have been 6-6. Restaino set to kick it away. I'll get you a score update from Alliance, Ohio in a second. Restaino blasts it deep, taken at the 5, 10. Running across the field, but not up the field, 20, 25, 30, and pushed out of bounds, and the fans looking for a foul, but nothing called. And now here comes one, but this one comes deep on the sideline. The ball carrier for Wesley is so far into the stands you can't even find him. Jameer Brevard. I don't know what he said, but he was doing a little cradle of a baby and rocking his arms back and forth. So I think that will give. We'll see what the flag is. Would imagine it's late hit on Del Val. And it is on Dante Mason, unnecessary roughness. So a long run made longer by the penalty. Scoreboard update. North Central 28, Mount Union 20. Winner of that one gets the winner of this one. You can name the teams that Mount Union has lost to over the last 15 years on one hand. In fact, you don't even need one hand. It's Whitewater, it's Mary Hardin Baylor, and it's John Carroll. And that's it. 1st and 10, Fry takes a snap, rolling. Aladinoff applies the pressure, catch is made, And Peel is gang tackled after running backwards for a couple of yards. It'll be a 3-yard pickup, but good job by the Aggies to swarm to the dangerous Ruhan Peel there. It'll be 2nd and 7. Muhlenberg up now 35-0 on Brockport State. Right here, Delaware Valley leads 14-3. Inside 5 minutes to play in the first half. Fry drops back, pass is thrown, catch is made by Ricky Hess, and Hess, well, he's down. Hess is frustrated, but the play was blown dead at the 40. And they better be careful. They're going to get another 15-yard penalty. Right, exactly. Yeah. When the ball keeps going, they want it. When it's a fumble, the play is dead, right? That's the way it works. 1st and 10 for the Wolverines on forward progress. Good second effort by Hess nonetheless, even if most of it didn't count. Marcellus Pack to the left of Fry. Wolverines trying to answer the Aggies score. 4:12 to play. Man left early. Pass thrown. Catch is made. And tackle made at the 25-yard line. That's one of the other tight ends. Now that is Ricky Hess again. Back-to-back catches for Hess. And the Wolverines very quickly into Delaware Valley territory to the 23. Hess on the season now, 23 catches for about 300 yards and 2 scores. 1st and 10. Wolverines' 3rd consecutive possession inside the Aggies' 25. Fry takes the snap. Protection holding up. Here comes a flag. This is all coming back. Fry runs. He's tackled, but this will be a holding penalty as Michael Nobile was grabbed and held as, I'm sorry, that's Anthony Nobile who was held, and Michael Nobile instructs the fans as if we did not know. I think I got the crowd mic off. Actually, you can still hear it. 10-yard penalty. All of those words of discouragement for 7. 7 is Michael Nobile for Del Val, who is, in fact, not garbage. 1st and 20 for the Wolverines. 3:14 and counting here. Wesley has all 3 timeouts. Aggies with a 14-3 lead. Fry drops back. Pocket starts to dissolve. Pass is thrown. Catch is made. Ricky Hess tackled at the 30. And that's a very modest gain. And now here comes a flag after the play is over. And Nobile was down. And are they calling that on Wesley again? Ouch. Yikes. So there's another penalty on the Wolverines. Fans are incensed with Michael Nobile, but that's his brother who draws the penalty again. That's Angel Guerrero who gets the personal foul. And it would have been 2nd at about 15. It's going to be, well, that's after the play's over. It's going to be 2nd and much longer than that. Yeah, 2nd about 30. The Wolverines have to get to the Aggies 14 for a first down. It's 2nd and 30. And the officials are going to consult. There's an injured player for somebody. Wolverines, Ricky Hess checks out of the game. I don't know if he was the hurt player or not. 35-21 now in Salisbury, Maryland, where the Seagulls, as the Aggies, will take a timeout. Seagulls with a 35-21 lead on the Dutchman. I said it was 35-0 Muhlenberg. I got a little ahead of myself. It's 28-0. North Central still leads Mount Union, although that lead has been trimmed now to 5. It's 28-23 North Central. And everything else starts later on. Right here, Aggies and Wolverines playing each other evenly in terms of yardage, but the Aggies with a big pass play to Dan Allen and a big run by Ezekiel Ennis, and the Wolverines are 1 for 2 in the red zone with 1 field goal. Aggies would love to get a stop here and get into the locker room with a double-digit lead. Wolverines would get the ball first. They're trying to go 2 for 1 here. Last week, the game against Bridgewater, it was the stop for Del Val where they forced a long field goal for Bridgewater at the end of the first half. That was no good. All right, here's 2nd and 30. Wolverines have to get to the Del Val 14. Fry takes a snap. Good time, pass thrown, and 2 guys run into each other. And, well, the tight end wants he's looking for a penalty. He ran into the defender and knocked him over. Unless there's offensive pass interference, there's no penalty there. Wesley's got to stop worrying about the flags and play the game. Tight end Jason Rigby ran over the top of Dante Mason, which is fine, but not a penalty on Mason. 3rd and 30. You can actually hear the Aggies. You can hear that from the far sideline. That's the Aggies fans making noise. Trips to the near side. Creedle to the bar side. This is a free play. And Fry will run, and he'll get tackled by Barrett. But there's a penalty on Michael Nobile to the delight of the fans. It will be 3rd and 25. Unless they, well, no, they're not going to keep the play. Otherwise, it would be 4th and 20-something. All right, we're going to have to turn the crowd mod back off. Now, Fry is, or rather, excuse me, Nobile is a excitable personality. He draws a lot of attention to himself. He's got some words for the Wolverines sidelines. But he is also a phenomenal talent. Michael is the Defensive Player of the Year again. 2nd time. As the public address announcer makes a, not sure if that's scripted, that's probably scripted, but functions as a diplomatic way to tell the fans to shut up. Nobile will be probably, at the rate he makes tackles for loss and sacks, midway through next year or so, he'll be the school's all-time leader for sacks. And the guy whose record he's breaking was not exactly a tomato can. Kyle Guesswin was a 3-time All-American. He was the East Region Player of the Year as a senior. And Guesswin was the best defensive player I've seen in my however many years it is covering Del Val until Michael Nobile. So Michael is energy personified. We told you we were in the hotel last week, and Nobile was prowling the lobby late at night. Sleep is not his friend. 3rd and 25. Fry under pressure, passes thrown, and deflected by one receiver over the head of another. And it'll be 4th and 25. Simpson was the intended receiver, but it ended up being deflected by Jerish Halsey. And didn't realize Michael was in on punt coverage too. Unless they think they're faking it. Have to run a long way. Have to get to the 14. It's 4th and 25. Dante Mason. Yeah, the Aggies aren't convinced they're punting it, but they are. It's a short punt. And it will get into the end zone. Woo, just barely. I think the guy who was running down the field lost track of where the ball was because he was standing right next to it when it bounced. And by the time he was able to locate it, Mike Brewer was unable to keep it on the field. So the Aggies will take over at their own 20-yard line with 2:13 to play. And the Aggies defense, bend but don't break again.
2:13 remaining in the half.
One o'clock games now just underway. Defending national champs, Mary Hardin Baylor. Wheaton has already scored against Central. That's 6-0 very quickly. Here, Fontana will hand it off. Dante Simmons jets around a couple of defenders, swims through a third. Mike Brewer makes the tackle after Simmons lands at about the 30-yard line, and Dante should have the first down. Mike Brewer makes the tackle, but the Aggies will now accelerate the pace a little bit. 2 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Delaware Valley with a 14-3 lead. Fontana drops back, pass thrown, catch made. Simmons at the 30, 35, 40, and flattened at the 44, but Simmons with a 14-yard reception and another first down for Delaware Valley. Aggies, as the chains move and the ball gets reset, Wolverines make a substitution. Ready to go again. Fontana drops back. Pass caught by Simmons. Simmons will just run out of bounds this time. I think he actually lost a yard on the play. It'll be 2nd and, 11. They'll say Simmons got back to the line of scrimmage, rather. 2nd and 10 coming up. Fontana has played a very efficient game here. When things aren't there, he throws it away. Aggies looking to go up 3 scores. They lead 14-3 with 1:36 to play. Quads to the top of the formation. Dan Allen alone to the bottom. Fontana, quick throw, catches, nearly picked off and then dropped. Dropped by Manigo and dropped it into the arms of the Wesley College defender, but Corey Williams was unable to find the handle because he was busy trying to tackle Manigo. And it's 3rd and 10 with 1:31 to play in the third quarter. Fans employing their defense to get a stop. Wolverines will get the ball back with plenty of time, 2 timeouts. Fontana with twins to the top of the formation, trips to the bottom. 5 wide receiver set again. Fontana drops back, pass thrown, caught by Cooper Russell, and the senior is ripped out of bounds just short of midfield. Russell picks up about 6. Just the 4th catch of the year for Cooper, and the Aggies will punt the ball away. Russell tackled short of the sideline, which is good for Del Val because that means the clock will wind. Bobby Miller on to attempt the punt. Wolverines will send Chuck Simpson back to return the kick. Wolverines with token pressure the last time around on Miller. Miller takes it. More pressure this time and nearly blocked. And Miller ends up getting a pretty good kick. It bounces as, the Wolverines just missed. It's Isaiah Mitchell who just missed blocking the punt. Ball down at the 21, 1:19 to play. Wolverines will try and get some extra points on the board. Scoreboard update for you. Mount Union has come from behind. They now lead North Central 31-28. That game 3:56 away from the start of at halftime. And if you think that's high scoring, Salisbury leads Union 42-21. Fry takes a snap here, dumps the ball off. And ball lost. Aggies pick it up, and it's Billy Walsh as he returns the ball to the 5. Wolverines fumble the ball away, and Billy Walsh is on it. And the Aggies will have it 1st and goal from the Wolverines 5, and there's 2 players down for Wesley. The guy who made the tackle and the guy who had the ball. Fry made the stop, so. So 2 Wolverines down. That's not Fry. I apologize. Fry made the tackle. The guy who was down around the ball is the one who's hurt. 2 guys in virtually the same position. And And the Aggies will have it 1st and goal from the 6. Second turnover by the Wolverines. Now, Ruhan Peel was the guy who was down farther downfield. And now the training staff will be able to concentrate on the other Wolverine who's down. Caught the ball, tried to make a move to the inside, slipped and lost his footing, and then as he was trying to regain his footing, he lost the ball. Billy Walsh recovers it for Del Val and returns it to the Wolverines 6. Right now, most of the concern and focus here is on the well-being of the Wesley player. Now, good sign as he starts to sit up on his own power. Take his helmet off. Trainers are going to help him to his feet. And he is clearly in a lot of pain. And now he's able to get off. That's Marcellus Pack again. And hopefully Marcellus is okay as he is shaken up. Walking away from the trainer under his own power, and he got his bell rung. They'll go through whatever the tests are for concussion protocol, but he goes into the tent. Meanwhile, here, the Aggies with a golden opportunity to go up 3 scores. It's 14-3. They have it 1st and goal at the Wesley 6. Fontana with trips to the near side. Nigro behind Fontana. Man comes in motion. The handoff goes to Mario. Mario goes straight ahead for nothing. Might have gotten a yard, if that. It'll be 2nd and goal from the pretty much the exact same spot. Now, the Aggies had a turnover earlier. They picked it up. They started at the Wolverines' 35. They have got to cash this in for some kind of points. 14-3. Trips to the near side. One man, that's Manigo, to the far side. 37 seconds. Ennis comes in motion. Fontana takes a snap. Quick throw. Ball dropped. Simmons wasn't going to get anywhere anyway. Dante Simmons, the intended receiver. It'll be 3rd and 6.
We've got 3rd down and goal from the 6. Seconds remaining in the half.
Third and 6 coming up. Quads to the top of the formation. And a timeout called by Del Val as they were about to run out of time there. Aggies have 1 remaining.
As a core value, the NCAA and Division III are committed to diversity.
Other 12 o'clock games, with the exception of the Mount Union game, they're at the half, 42-28. Union scores again before the end of the half. And a 70-point first half there. Salisbury leads by 14. Muhlenberg on top of Brockport 28-0. Mount Union leads North Central 31-28. Mary Hardin Baylor underway. They now lead Huntington 3-0. Wheaton College, who is in the same conference as North Central, off to a 14-0 start at home on Central. And Wisconsin Whitewater with a 7-0 lead on Wartburg midway through the first half, just north of Chicago. Right here, 3rd and goal. The Aggies were gifted with an opportunity to make us a 3-score game. So far, they've had 2 plays and gone 2 feet. Fontana takes a snap. Looking, pass thrown on the slant, incomplete. Into the hands of Aaron Nelson, and Nelson could not hang on. Nelson had it there, delivered by a good delivery from Fontana. Nelson just couldn't make the catch. And the Aggies will attempt a field goal here. Well, really critical field goal for Restaino, and coming from the near hash, this will not be an easy kick. It's a 22-yard field goal attempt, but at a weird angle. Waiting for the snap. Snap is there, hold is there, kick is away, it is up, and it is good. And so Nick Restaino salvages the drive. The Aggies come away with a gifted 3 points, and Delaware Valley with a 17-3 lead with 22 seconds to play in the first half. So that's just Restaino's third field goal of the season, but a very important one there as the Aggies can go into the half up a full 2 scores now, taking 2-point conversions off the table. But more importantly, when you get the ball and you start at the opponent's 6, you got to get something out of that. Marcellus Pack apparently is okay because he's going to head onto the field to return the kick. Nick Restaino will kick it away. As the Wolverines are expecting this to be very short. See if Restaino can get into it. 22 seconds left. Wolverines will get the ball with 2 timeouts. And it's going to stay on the carpet. Picked up at the 35. Get you the ball carrier's name here in a moment. As tackled down around the 41. Tamon Williams makes the tackle. That is Keemon Coleman who returns the ball. 17 seconds to play. Wolverines have been very efficient running the ball. Drew Fry has picked up the pace a little bit throwing the ball, but they have not been able to capitalize in the red zone, much like Delaware Valley. Fry 10 for 17, 105 yards and interception. Fontana 10 for 20, 92 yards and a touchdown. Aggies with a touchdown to Dan Allen and a touchdown run by Ezekiel Ennis in the first half. And field goal by Restaino stakes them to the 17-3 lead. Wolverines have been inside the red zone for Delaware Valley twice, have come away with 3 points, and they're going to have to use a timeout before this drive even gets started. So now down to 1 with 17 seconds to play. Delaware Valley trying to get to the national quarterfinals for the 4th time in program history. That's kind of old hat for Wesley. They've done it many, many times. Been in the national semifinals a bunch. Wesley has never been able to break through and get to the Stag Bowl. That's the national championship game. But they have, over the last 15 years, by far been the standard by which any other East Region football team is measured here in Division III. Wolverines have run into the same problem that pretty much everyone else in Division III has. The Mary Hardin Baylor, Whitewater, Mount Union problem. Those are the 3 teams that play for and win the national title seemingly every year. Wolverines have had a crack at all 3 of those, and they actually have beaten Mary Hardin Baylor on occasion, but not in recent years. Fry hands the ball off to Abe Mansoray. Nope, that's Pack, and Pack is tackled inbounds. Tackled by Anthony Thomas for Del Val. And the Wolverines are content to just let the last 7 seconds tick off the clock. So the Aggies get a couple of turnovers, get a couple of touchdowns, and your score at the end of 1 half, a long half, Delaware Valley leads 17-3. We'll take a break for about 10 minutes and come back, make it 15. We'll come back with your halftime scores and your first half box score. Welcome back. Let's get you some first half numbers here. 7 minutes to play here, or 7 minutes to go until we start playing again. As the Aggies and the Wolverines at the half. Delaware Valley with a 17-3 lead. That if you look at the numbers, it does not look like it should be a 17-3 lead. Not that Delaware Valley is going to complain, but the numbers are very, very even. Delaware Valley with 9 first downs to Wesley's 10. Aggies with 107 yards on the ground. Wolverines with 97. Both of these teams having trouble holding the other team in terms of rushing yards. Through the air, Delaware Valley 92 yards. Wolverines with 105. The big difference: Wesley's turned the ball over twice in their own territory. Although only one has resulted in any points, and that was 3 points. The Wolverines with a big defensive stop to hold Delaware Valley to a field goal at the end of the first half after the Wolverines fumbled the ball and Delaware Valley returned the ball to the Wesley 6. Third down conversions, neither team real good, but that's because both teams' defenses are. Wesley 1 of 6. Delaware Valley 2 of 7 on third down and 0 for 1 on fourth down. The Aggies are 2 for 2 in the red zone. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Wesley 1 for 2 with the Nick Brunn field goal. Aggies got things started on the second drive of the game after a long pass from Anthony Fontana to Dan Allen for 44 yards, set up a first and goal. A couple plays later, Fontana again finds Allen for the touchdown, and the extra point from Nick Restano makes it 7-0 Delaware Valley. Wesley gets the ball back, throws an interception. The Aggies take over inside the 35, but they are unable to do anything with it. Wolverines get the ball. They drive down the field. They get inside the 20, but then they get hung up at the 14. Incomplete pass, and Nick Brunn comes on to attempt the field goal that was no good. Aggies come out. They exchange, basically, they had a drive where they had 4 attempts to try and get a 2nd and 10. It was 2nd and 5 initially, and then by the time they got it off, it was 2nd and 15. That drive stalled, kicked the ball away. Wesley came down the field again on the legs of Marcellus Pack, and this time Nick Brunn was able to convert on a 25-yard field goal to make it 7-3. Delaware Valley answered immediately, all on the ground. Anthony Fontana, Dante Simmons, and then Ezekiel Ennis on an end-around 25-yard touchdown run. A 5-play, 83-yard drive that took just 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Restano's extra point was good, and it was 14-3 Del Val. Wolverines got the ball, had a personal foul stall out a drive for them, kicked the ball into the end zone. Delaware Valley moved the ball to the 50, punted it away. Wolverines, on the first play from scrimmage, fumbled the ball. The Aggies took over, returned it to the 6, and that was Restano's 23-yard field goal to make it 17-3. Individual numbers, a good first half for Marcellus Pack, 12 carries for 70 yards, 5.8 per carry. Drew Fry, the quarterback, with 2 carries for 16 yards, mostly not designed runs, but effective nonetheless. Fry, less effective through the air. Again, keep in mind, last week, again, he had 5 touchdowns in the first half. This week, 10 for 17, 105 yards, 1 interception, although that one not entirely his fault. It was deflected off the receiver's hands, and no touchdowns. Aggies so far have been able to keep Ruhan Peel in check. He's got 3 catches for 41 yards. Ricky Hess, the tight end, 3 for 28, and Chuck Simpson, 2 for 30. For Delaware Valley, Dante Simmons, 5 for 37. That's 7.4 yards per carry. Ezekiel Ennis with 2 carries for 27 yards and a score. Anthony Fontana, 2 carries for 27 yards. And Nigro, 4 yards per carry on 4 carries. Fontana's numbers 10 of 20 for 92 yards and a touchdown. No interceptions. He also was not sacked. Dan Allen, 3 catches for 53 yards and a score. Dante Simmons, 3 for 23. And everything else pretty much de minimis. 9 tackles in the first half for Corey Williams. 8 tackles in the first half for Dante Mason, who also had the interception. And those are your numbers through the end of the first half. Take a look at the NCAA football.com scoreboard for you. Other 12 o'clock games are either just about to start their third quarter or at the half. At the half in Alliance, Ohio, Mount Union leads North Central 38-28. Winner of this one gets the winner of that one, and if Mount Union wins, they would host number 1 in their bracket and probably the number 1 seed overall. Underway in the second half in Salisbury, Maryland, and Union last week was down 24-3. They came all the way back to win. We're down again 42-21. Well, not anymore. Now they're down by 8. Salisbury 42, Union 34, with just 2 minutes gone in the second half as those teams continue to score on each other at will. 76 points between the two of them. Third quarter just underway as Muhlenberg rolling over Brockport State. The last two teams that Delaware Valley lost to in the playoffs. Mules, the much stronger team this time around. They're number 4 in the country. Brockport, one of 2 undefeated teams left in the tournament. And again, they're down 4 scores 5 minutes into the third quarter in Allentown. 1 o'clock games all underway, and none of them are close. Mary Hardin Baylor, the defending national champs. They're on top of Huntington 17-0. Huntington and Brockport, the 2 last remaining unranked teams. Wheaton, the Thunder out of Illinois, they're the number 3 team in the country, and boy, are they ever playing like it. They're up 35-0 in the first half on the Central College Dutch. Number 7, Whitewater, with a 17-10 lead. Just started the second quarter at Perkins Stadium, just north of Chicago, where the Warhawks are hosting. And then later on this afternoon, 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 12 o'clock local time out in California, where the Chapman College Panthers will host the St. John's University Johnnies. Right here, the Aggies get set to kick the ball away. And we are getting ready for the second half. Again, the numbers here, Wolverines with a advantage in yards, a narrow one, an advantage in first downs, a narrow one. But they're down 14. Delaware Valley has managed to convert in the red zone, and the Wolverines have not. Nick Restano on to kick the ball away. Still have not seen the Wolverines take a shot down the field to Ruhan Peel. Restano. Gets ready to kick it away. Marcellus Pack back to return the the kick for the Wolverines. He's joined by Ryan Clemens, number 3. Although very likely to be Pack who gets the ball. Stano's kick is high and short, and Pack will take it at his own 11. Runs to the near sideline to 15. He's got a good hole to the 30, 35, and knocked out of bounds by Blaine Netterman at about the 45-yard line. Very good return there for Marcellus Pack, who's done a little bit of everything. 32 for Del Val, pleading his case. He wanted some sort of foul. That was Timon Williams. Pack has continued to reverse field on those kicks, and another great return for him, this time to the 47. The Wolverines with good position to start the game, or start the second half, trailing by 2 scores. Drew Fry, the freshman, comes back out at quarterback. 4 wide receivers, Ricky Hess to our side. And 1 man in the backfield, I think that's Marcellus Pack again. And the Wolverines just barely get it off, and then they fumble the ball, and now they're going to run the ball to the 45-50, and ends up being a pickup of 4 yards. Pack very frustrated with the sideline. I wasn't sure they actually got that play off, but ended up being instead of a disastrous start to the first half, or second half, ends up being about a 3.5-yard gain for Pack, who comes out of the game. Ruhan Peel to the top of the formation. Wolverines moving left to right. Cortez Simpson to the near side. Fry's got 2 men in the backfield, and he will hand the ball off, and this is the tailback who gets to the 45. Tackle made by Jameer Pravard. And pushing and shoving after the play again as the coach gets into the face of the ball carrier there. That's Marquise Normand, who is normally a linebacker, but also plays some halfback, obviously. 3rd and 2. Yeah, Drew Fry lines up to the top of the formation here again. Pack fakes the handoff, and he is dropped. Actually, that's Ruhan Peel, and Peel loses 2 yards, and there's a flag on the play. Dante Mason makes the tackle. We'll see what the flag is. It's a false start on Wolverines. See what they want to do. Yeah, false start on Wesley. Still no signal from Coach Greco whether he wants to take the penalty or not. It was a loss of 2. So it'll be 4th and about 4. And they're going to bring the punt unit on here. Maybe. Yep, here comes Nick Brunn. They had 4 guys in the backfield on a wildcat formation, which you're not allowed to do. So, barring a penalty, the Aggies will have made another stop here on the Wolverines. That first drive goes 6 yards. Brunn gets it away. A beautiful kick. That will land about 6 yards deep in the end zone. And Delaware Valley will take over at their own 20. You know whose name we haven't said yet today? Tamir Barksdale. That was Dante Mason who was back to return that punt. Oh, okay. Barksdale was hurt. Well, that would make sense. Haven't heard John Davis. No, Davis was in for just 1 play after having the 2-touchdown day. Yeah, he's trying to hide on the far sideline. Does not work. There goes Isaiah Mitchell out to cover him. 1st and 10 from Del Val from their own 20. Simmons in motion, and they hand it off to Dante. Dante evades 2 tacklers and rolls down to about the 22. And a very late flag as Shamir Vessels makes the tackle. I like Vessels a lot. He's a good-looking player. I think we're going to have to kill our crowd mic again, especially if this is on Wesley. I did not see what the flag was. It was very late. Vessels has 60 tackles on the year. He's a junior. He'll be back next year.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 20. 15-yard penalty.
Okay. Well, that was not on Shamir Vessels. That was on Miles James. I had no idea what Miles James did. He was nowhere near the ball. But that's a free 15 yards for Del Val, and if nothing else, that will help them out in terms of punting if this turns into that kind of drive. Miles James chastised on the sideline. Again, I'm not sure what he did. But that is the 4th personal foul, 3rd personal foul on Wesley. 12:55 and counting. Aggies lead by 14 in a game that's been much closer than that. Simmons, Simmons gets the ball and he gets steamrolled by Isaiah Mitchell. Simmons gets hammered down at the 35. Keep calling him Dante Summers. Second and 12 for the Aggies. First drive of the half for Del Val. Wolverines went 3 and out on their first drive after the Marcellus Pack kick return to the 47. Fontana drops back, pass thrown, catch made by Aaron Nelson. Nelson makes a man miss. He's to midfield and bulldozed there, but a nice play by Aaron Nelson, who picks up 14 yards. First catch of the playoffs for Aaron. Comes in the first drive of the second half of the second game. And Delaware Valley's leading receiver gives the Aggies a first down. Aggies have spread the ball around a lot this year. They've only had 2 games where somebody has scored more than 1 touchdown. 1st and 10, Delaware Valley at midfield. Clock inside, 12 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter, just underway here in the second half. Delaware Valley with a 17-3 lead. Mario Nigro in the backfield, and they fake it to Mario. Fontana keeps it, 50, 45, and out of bounds around the 42. Pickup of 8 for Anthony, make that 7. Senior quarterback, transferred in from the College of Charleston. 2 years as the reserve to Deshaun Darden, who was basically a 4-year starter. And Fontana has been rewarded with the keys to the offense and has played very effectively this year. 2nd and 3 for Delaware Valley, inside the Wesley 45 now. Ennis comes in motion. Ennis gets the sweep, and to the 40. No, not quite. Didn't quite make the first down. Sticks. He's tackled at the 41. It'll be 3rd and short for Delaware Valley. Will Scott makes the tackle, as does Shamir Vessels for Wesley. Delaware Valley had a lot of turnover on their offense this year. 8 starters from last year's team are gone, and then Quadir Struthers, who figured to be the starter, got injured. But as Keith McMillan rightly pointed out last week, at this point in the season, these guys are the starters. Those guys last started a game more than a calendar year ago. 3rd and short for Del Val. Fontana looks back at Duke Greco. 3 on the play clock. The Aggies are going to have to take time out here. Duke was not able to figure out what he wanted to do there, and the Aggies will try and figure things out for third and short. 10:23 to play here in the third quarter. Duke Greco, another outstanding season for the Del Valle alum. Easy for me to say. Yeah, that would be great. So this doesn't turn into a Joe Cocker broadcast. Thank you. Not that there's anything wrong with Joe Cocker. That's right. Good point. Duke now a record of 58-10 in 6 seasons as the Aggies head coach. 14th year as the offensive coordinator for Del Valle. Wolverines looking to get a stop. Aggies looking to get 1 yard. They completely changed the formation. Fontana with an empty backfield on 3rd and 1. They're going to hand it off to Manigo, who gives it to Bohannon. Bohannon's got a man wide open. Throws down the field for Dan Allen. Touchdown! Touchdown! The Aggies with a trick play. Manigo takes the snap, gives it to Daquan Bohannon, who sneaks into the game. And the Aggies' second-team quarterback hits Dan Allen in stride for a touchdown. And it is 23-3 Del Valle. Now the Aggies love them some trick plays. More often than not, they don't turn into anything. But that one sure did. Nick Restaino on to attempt the extra point. Kick is away, it is up, and it is good.
Restaino's kick is good. Make it Del Valle 24, Wesley 3.
Wow, that was very creative. Empty backfield with the starting quarterback, and then they bring a guy in motion, Manigo. Manigo takes the snap. And remember last week I had complained about Manigo taking the ball on a 3rd and 1. He took the ball and fell forward and didn't get a first down. Maybe it was all designed to set that up because it was the same play. But this time they ran. I don't think Bohannon was in last week. That was 46 yards, I think. And Delaware Valley now with a 24-3 lead. Now the Aggies defense gets a stop, and the Aggies have had to be creative here, and it's worked. And Dan Allen now with 2 touchdowns in the game, and I think Allen's pretty much going to, if he's not All-American, I'll be very surprised again, but he'll definitely be All-Region as he has had a tremendous season. Although that one was probably his easiest catch of the year, he's not going to complain. Restaino kicks a wobbler that will wobble its way to Pack, and Pack finally brought down with something less than a 35-yard return. He's tackled at the 26 by Anthony Thomas. And Wesley starts with a 1st and 10 from their own 27, and now the fans here who were already a little ornery starting to get restless. First and 10. Wolverines operating a man short here. Abe Mansoray checks into the game. And Wolverines, I don't know why the play clock hasn't started. Okay, now it starts. Fry dropping back, under pressure, pass is thrown, and oh, what a catch by Ruhan Peel. He just sheds Jameer Prevard and says, get out of here. Peel with a catch to the 40. It's a pickup of 13 and a Wesley first down. A lot of air under that ball for Fry, but Peel just out-muscles his man to the ball. Fry. 9:47 and counting. Aggies now up by 21 after the trick play bomb for a touchdown. Simpson, as the handoff goes to Mansoray, and Mansoray gets hammered by Dante Mason. But Mansoray, a very good run for 8 yards. Wolverines are not having problems running the ball. They just can't finish a drive. Mason's been very busy. He's the leading tackler. And this will be second and about 2.5 for the Wolverines. Fry. See if they look deep here on second and short. Fry throws across the middle, and it's picked off. Throws it into the hands of Blaine Netterman. And Netterman with his 6th interception of the season. They finally look deep, and maybe that's why they haven't been, as Fry badly underthrows his receiver. As Fry just throws it to the wrong team there, Blaine Netterman. We gotta kill the crowd mic again, as you hear the first fan 1 says to fan 2, "Where are you going?" Fan 2 says to fan 1, "I'm a fair weather fan. I'm out of here." And there she goes. Still plenty of time left, despite that fan's early departure. Aggies give it to Dante Simmons, and Simmons runs to the 33-ish before he's driven back. And the Aggies now will be very content to just run clock. Obviously, there's 8:45 to play in the third quarter, so they're not trying to run out the clock, but a time-consuming drive here, points or no, will be very welcome. Second and 6 coming up. Pitch goes to Nigro. Nigro off his left tackle, and Nigro to the 42. And what a great play there. Dan Allen with a huge block, and also Corey Shriver. Aggies with the ball, 1st and 10 from the 42. And the Aggies taking their sweet time here. They are a huddle team anyway. There's so many teams now that are no huddle or sugar huddle. Delaware Valley is not one of them. 10 seconds on the play clock as they break the huddle. Fontana drops back, looks one way. He'll throw to Ennis. Ennis from his own 40. Tries to get to the outside, evades man, 45, 50, and into Wesley territory at the 44, 46, as that was a very Wesley-like play. Looked like you have him trapped for a loss, and Ezekiel Ennis squirts away for 12 yards. Brewer chases him out of bounds. Delaware Valley 1st and 10 from the Wesley 46. And the clock will continue to wind. John Davis and Cooper Russell to the near side. Don't see that combination too often. Far side is empty. Fontana drops back, swing pass to Simmons. Simmons does kind of makes a man miss enough to get about 1.5 yards before he's tackled. Pickup of 2, 2nd and 8 coming up. Ball placed at the Wesley 44. I'm still just amazed at that play call on 3rd and 1, where Greco took a long time and then called timeout, and that was not the play they were going to run. They did not have 2 quarterbacks on the field. And yeah, I thought it was the Manigo handoff and run to nowhere, but Manigo flips to Bohannon for the touchdown. 2nd and 8. Fontana drops back. This time he'll throw. Fontana gets hammered. Catch by Dan Allen. No. Allen unable to get his 2nd foot in what would have been a circus catch as Fontana got hammered. Yeah.
Too much NFL game.
2nd and 8. Yeah, you got to get 2 feet in. Got to get 1 feet in. Thank you. Sorry. This is what happens when you sit next to officials. Nifty catch, doesn't count. 3rd and 8 coming up. Stops the clock. Fontana with trips to the near side, twins to the far side. Fontana takes a snap. Has time again. Nope, not this time. He is sacked. Wrestled to the turf. I think that's Will Scott. Yeah, that's the defensive end. First sack of the game for the Wolverines. Aggies will have to punt it away with about 6 minutes to play here in the third quarter, but they move the ball up the field a little bit, barring a big punt return, which is certainly possible by Simpson. The Wolverines will have reasonably modest field position. Snap comes to Miller. Miller gets it away. Kick fielded by Simpson, who makes a fair catch. Very late call, but he makes the catch at his own 13 or so. Good coverage on the play by Delaware Valley's 27. Yeah, it's Anthony Thomas. Okay. No, it's Anthony Mumford.
Ball is at the 14-yard line. Wesley, first down and 10.
Now, Wolverines will take over there. Aggies knock a few minutes off the clock and push the Wolverines back. Wolverines being outgained now 290 to 131. Problem for Wesley is their best plays are runs, but now they're down 3 scores, so not time to abandon the run yet, but Wesley has to get some of those chunk plays they're known for. Fry drops back, pass thrown, catch is made. Oof. Ryan Barrett got flattened by Ruhan Peel, and Barrett says, or Michael Nobile says, good block. Well, yeah, right. Little translation for you. Maybe not good block, but that was a playful pat on the head to Peel, who leveled him. Ends up being no gain, by the way, after all of that. Or a yard. 2nd and 9 coming up. 5:28 to play. Nobile, in terms of his play, has been quiet. In terms of his talking, has not been. Fry taking a long time. Gets the snap. Pass thrown across the middle and knocked away by Anthony Tedisco. Tedisco has played really well, and it'll be 3rd and 9 coming up. Fry now 12 for 20 for 121 yards and two interceptions. The Aggies looking for a big stop here to get the ball back with good field position. 5:13 to play. Wolverines are 1 for 7 on 3rd down. Bring the crowd mic back. Fry takes a snap. Nobile has him under pressure. Pass is thrown incomplete. And finally, Michael Nobile gets to the quarterback. Doesn't get the sack, but Fry backpedaling off his foot as Nobile plants him in the end zone. Fry just throws it away. 4th and 9 coming up. Quarterback hurry for Michael. And the Wolverines, once again, will be forced to punt. Nick Bruin will be kicking this from about his own 1. 5:08 to play, 3rd quarter. Aggies lead 24-3. Brunn gets it away. Falls, no call made. Ball takes a bounce and a roll, and roll all the way to the 30. Good punt from Bruin. So much for the good field position. Aggies will get the ball. 1st and 10 from their own 30. 4:57 to play in the 3rd quarter. Delaware Valley leads 24-3. Check on the other games for you, just from the message boards I'm on. I can tell that Mount Union is winning. There's rumbling about how North Central is struggling on offense, and they were down 10. And now, well, they're still down 10, 45-35. Mount Union would host the winner of this game. Salisbury has scored again. That is a 14-point game, 48-34. Handoff goes to John Davis. John Davis wraps up the ball and pick up of about 6 for Little John. All the 1 o'clock games are basically over already. They're all in the 2nd quarter, but they're all over. 23-0, 42-7, 31-7. Muhlenberg basically running out the clock. They're going to head back to the national quarterfinals. They're going to have a Muhlenberg-Salisbury or Muhlenberg-Union matchup in that bracket. That will be a lot of fun next week. 2nd and 4 here for Del Val. 4:23 to play. Aggies lead by 21. Fontana, pitch to Mario. Mario, oof. Head first, oof. And Mario hit hard twice, but he manages to get a couple of yards out of that. 3rd and 2.5 coming up here for Del Val as the clock will wind inside 4 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter.
Make it 3rd down and 2.
Fans looking for a stop from their defense. Aggies looking for 2 yards to keep this drive going. Del Val leads by 21. Taking their sweet time here. 5 on the play clock. Fontana gets it off. Play action fake to Mario. And Anthony is hammered, sacked down at the 30-yard line, and he gets slammed to the turf. And it's Jalen Johnson who gets the sack. And that did not go as planned. Aggies will punt the ball away, and now the Wolverines will get it with pretty good field position. So that punt from Brune, and then the inability to get any kind of first down sets the Wolverines up with pretty good position. See if Miller can equal it here. 2:55 to play and counting in the 3rd quarter. Snap comes back. Miller gets it away. Pretty good kick. Simpson will make the catch at his own 28. Ryan Norton unable to make the tackle, and there's a block in the back, so this is coming back. 30, 40, 45. Run as long as you want. The play's over as the Wolverines will be pinned back inside their own 20.
Nice run back by Simpson. Slides around the field.
Norton was unable to make the tackle, and then the second guy got tackled from behind.
Third and return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 15, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Penalty on Raekwon Green, the sophomore wide receiver from Middletown, Delaware, just north of here. I guess most of Delaware is just north of here. Delaware, a 3-state, 3 counties: Sussex, Kent, and Newcastle. I am well versed in Delaware geography because of my wife's family.
Westfield puts the ball in play, 1st down and 10 from their own 12.
So Wolverines have it on their own 12 after the penalty. So there's the good punt, but the flag for Del Val flips the field position. Fry fakes one way, fakes another, hands off to Marcellus Pack, and Pack may be gone. 40, 45, 50. Holy cow, he's fast. And he is gone. Touchdown. Marcellus Pack, 88 yards in a blink of an eye. And the Wolverines have cut this to a 2-score lead. My goodness.
88 yards on the run.
Wow. Once he got past the line of scrimmage, there was no doubt. And Brune on to attempt the extra point to try and get this down to a 2-score lead, and that is huge. Snap, kick, away, up, and good. And so the Wolverines, needing a jolt on offense, get one in a big way. Marcellus Pack goes 88 yards for the touchdown, and the Aggies' lead is trimmed to 24-10. Well, that takes this game from feeling like it was slipping away from the Wolverines to being right there again, 24-10. Marcellus Pack, after the Aggies pin the Wolverines deep, he takes it 88 yards in 1 carry for the touchdown. Longest run from scrimmage of the year against Del Val. And Brun kicks it high and very short and fielded by Ennis at his 20, 25-30, 33-35, and he's tackled there. Just the 3rd kick return of the season for Ezekiel. Scoreboard update for you. Mount Union 45, North Central 42. midway through the third quarter. That is a good game. Salisbury leads Union 48-34. That is the start of the fourth quarter in Maryland, where the scoring has finally slowed down. And as we mentioned earlier, Muhlenberg basically running out the clock. They're up 35-0 at the start of the fourth. Right here, Wolverines feeling very much in the game after the big touchdown by Marcellus Pack. Aggies trying to answer. They're still up 14. Later stage of the third quarter here. Fontana's been sacked his last 2 times back. Pass caught by Manigo. Manigo slips a tackle and is up to about the 40. It's a 5-yard pickup for Juan. Tackle made by Williams. Delaware Valley with a 2nd and 5. Simmons in the backfield next to Fontana. Manigo starts in motion. And it's a delayed handoff to Simmons. Simmons at the 45 of Wesley. He's got the first down. 45 of Del Val, excuse me. This delayed handoff there for Simmons. A 6-yard pickup, and the Aggies move the chains and quiet the fans momentarily. While the clock winds, Aggies would love to run this, would keep the ball and run out the rest of the third quarter here at least. .19 on the play clock. Aggies still in the huddle. Dan Allen checks out of the game. Aaron Nelson and John Davis to the near side. Mario Nigro in at tailback. Pitch goes to Mario. Mario up to the 45, hit and spun down at around the 49. It's a 4-yard pickup for Mario. And clock will wind inside a minute to play here in the third quarter with a 2nd and 6 coming up here for Del Val. Aggies have run the ball for 124 yards. Wolverines now 199 after that 88-yard run for Pack, who had 80 yards before that, so it's not like he was having a bad game. Now he's got 162 and 1 touchdown. 2nd and 6 coming up for Del Val. 10 on the play clock, 41 on the game clock here in the third quarter. Ennis comes in motion. Fontana fakes to Ezekiel. Looking, throwing across the middle for Dan Allen. Catch is made again. And Allen juggling the ball, gets his knee down, and the Wolverines take it away, but his knee is down. The play is over, and his knee is down. Fans don't like it, but Allen put his knee down. I think Allen wisely realized he was losing the handle and just downed himself at about the 22. Fans don't like it, but, I mean, good, smart play there from Allen, and the Aggies will watch the final 16 seconds of the third quarter tick away. Allen now with 5 catches for 122 yards. Fans saying that the ball was coming out. The Aggies get this one to the fourth quarter, up 24-10. We're going to have to kill the crowd mic again. Any sentence that starts, "Hey, ref," is not going to have, the rest of that sentence is not going to be one we're allowed to air. Well, the Aggies have it 1st and 10 at the Wolverines' 23. Delaware Valley, 3 would be fine because it would make it a 3-score game again. 3 wide receivers at the top of the formation, 2 to the bottom. Backfield is empty for Fontana on 1st and 10. Fontana will throw, looks, firing towards the end zone, and he overshoots Aaron Nelson, incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up.
second down and 10.
14:56 to play here. Marcellus Pack with an 88-yard touchdown. Daquan Bohannon on a trick play with a 41-yard touchdown, and the teams played even in that third quarter. Here's Dante Simmons to the outside. 20, 15, 10, and Simmons is down for a big gain, a pickup of about 15 yards for Dante Simmons, and Nate Pauls better be careful with some taunting towards the towards the Wesley players, and playing well. Don't spoil it now. It'll be first and goal for Del Val from the Wesley 7. Man down for the Wolverines. Was that number? Oh, it's Isaiah Mitchell. Thank you. Bring the crowd bike back and forth here. Mitchell comes off the field. Wolverines and the Aggies, again, this does not feel like a two-score game. Wolverines 323, or Aggies rather, 323 yards. Wolverines 320. Wolverines 199 yards through the air, or on the ground, excuse me, and the Aggies 195 yards through the air. The teams are combined 4 for 18 on third down. This is a first down, and it's first and goal for Del Val from the Wesley 7. Aggies 2 for 2 from the red zone today. Fontana fakes, runs up the middle, and gets squished at about the 5. Give him 2 yards on the play. Second and goal from the 5 coming up.
Pickup of 2, second down and goal from the 5.
Clock winds. It'll be inside 14 minutes to play. Score would be enormous. Again, even a field goal helps because it puts you back up by 3 scores. Fontana with Nigro to his right. Trips to the near side. Ennis comes in motion. Fontana drops back. Swing pass for Ennis. Ennis at the 10. Cuts to the... doesn't get anywhere. Runs back and forth a lot, but loses 2 yards on the play, and it'll be third and goal from the 7. Ennis should have planted his foot and just tried to go and tried to get something out of that.
Third down and 6.
A nice play there by Tom Tanner coming from behind. Equally nice play by Isaiah Mitchell, who hung Ennis up. So Isaiah obviously feeling all right. 13:20 to play. Aggies at the Wolverines 6 for third and goal. Fontana. Man in motion is Cooper Russell. Fontana takes a snap, looking under pressure, pass thrown, he's got a man, touchdown, and it's Dan Allen again. Dan Allen into the end zone for the score, and the Aggies have a 30-10 lead.
Dan Allen with the reception.
Allen with his third catch for a score. And we said earlier this year that the Aggies have only had 2 games this year where they've had, well, 3 last week. Davis had 2 touchdowns. The same guy scored more than once. And Allen with a beautiful pattern into the end zone for the score. Bad snap handled by Lawless. Kick is up and good. And now there's pushing and shoving after the play. Here comes a very late flag. 31-10 Del Val. And again, just crucial not to lose your composure here. Don't give 15 free yards.
13:05 remaining in the ballgame. Del Val 31, Wesley 10.
And now we're going to have to kill this crowd mic because of the Del Val fans. And they're very far away. Yeah, offsetting penalties. Mike Brewer for Wesley and 40 for Del Val. They don't have a 40. Not sure who would be wearing 40 today. The last 40 they had was a fullback a couple years ago. Maybe that's, well, whatever it is. It's the first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on him. Now Anthony Fontana with that touchdown. That's his third of the day. Fontana quietly has himself up to a 29 touchdown season now. I say quietly because Fontana, it's very rare that you have a quarterback of an undefeated team who's not even all conference, but he was not. And there was not a lot of protesting about it. He's been efficient, but not incredibly flashy. Isaiah Mitchell being consoled on the sidelines by one of his teammates. This game isn't over. It's 13:05 to play. I guess Mitchell was in coverage on Allen there. Restaino kicks a line drive that will scoot to the dangerous Marcellus Pack. And here we go again. 20, 25, 27, 30. Now he cuts back the other way, loses the ball, and the Aggies recover. 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Rasheek Harvard. And the Aggies are up by 27. Marcellus Pack loses the ball, and Rasheek Harvard into the end zone for the touchdown, and the Aggies sideline celebrates.
Harvard recovering the fumble, taking it into the score.
You knew that it was all Aggies around it because the first guy who saw the ball bounce didn't even try and pick it up. He let it bounce back to Harvard, who has done some kick returning in his day, and Harvard took off as soon as he scoops it up. Restaino's extra point is good, and the Aggies, more pushing and shoving, are up 38-10.
Belleville 38, Wesley 10.
Now, Delaware Valley, D3Football.com, the picks, there were 6 guys who pick. 1 picked Del Val. They all picked close games. A lot of them were kind of joking references to the 4 overtime game, but Delaware Valley with some big plays by Dan Allen, who's got 3 touchdowns, and Wesley, who over the history of their program has struggled with turnovers and penalties, and it's been that again today. And that turnover creates 7 points for Del Val and puts this game. Got a feel for Marcellus Pack, who's played a great game and just has that one coughed up. Here's another roller that, hits the kick returner in the face, and then he's tackled at the 23. Ball bounces and hits Ryan Clements in the face. And now you just hope you get out of here cleanly without anybody doing anything untoward. And now the Wolverines will have to throw. Drew Fry comes out, 3 wide receivers, and we've questioned why they haven't tried over the top on Del Val. That's where the Aggies are so vulnerable. But they've only thrown the ball down the field once today, and it was a poorly thrown ball for an interception. Fry, not ready to throw yet. This is Marcellus Pack again, and he's tackled for no gain. In fact, he loses a yard. Billy Walsh, the senior linebacker, makes the hit. And again, pushing and shoving, and another penalty comes out. And Nobile is saying it's on Wesley, and this one's got to be very careful here. The tempers are flaring. There was a lot of tension in the air between these two teams before this game started. And frustration now boiling over for Wesley.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 8, half the distance to the goal, the down count, second down.
So the down counts, it's a gain of 1 and then a loss of 15 on the penalty on Drew Fry, number 8, the quarterback. Well, the Aggies have been to the quarterfinals 3 times in program history. The 3 times they went, they were all somewhat expected. They were the top seed. Well, they were the second seed when they did it as a Cinderella team that was 10-0 through the regular season. The next season, they were expected to go to the quarterfinals, and they did, losing a heartbreaker to Rowan. And then 2 seasons ago, they were the top seed in their own bracket and were expected to go to the quarterfinals. This one is completely unexpected. Road win against Bridgewater and a lopsided game now here against Wesley. Fry drops back, pass is thrown, and it is picked off. Intercepted by Justin Harris. And Harris with taunting, and he should get booted. Another flag for Wesley, and wow. Wesley's wide receiver there, Mike Creedle, is literally punching himself in the face with frustration, and this is getting out of hand. Just the level of emotions here. Harris waves to the Wesley crowd after the pick.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Delaware Valley, number 25, 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's Harris's first. Fry's third interception of the game. And now you just pull these guys on the sideline and say, hey, we can't afford to lose any of you next week for Mount Union or North Central. Enjoy the last 12-10, but play with your heads on straight. That is the 5th turnover of the afternoon by the Wolverines. Fontana comes out. Yeah, a lot of angry people is right. Fontana is not one of them. 1st and 10. Guys in motion all over the place here. Handoff goes to Mario. Mario off the left tackle to the 50, to 45 to Wesley, and down to the 43. 7-yard pickup. And the Aggies have ripped the heart out here of the Wolverines on that fumble return. The touchdown by Allen made things tremulous here, but then when Pack fumbles the ball and they see Rasheek Harvard run it into the end zone, that is the killer. Delaware Valley, I don't know whether they'll be on the road. Well, I guess I do sort of know. They will be on the road. But where, we don't know. It could be a long drive to Ohio or a flight to North Central. And North Central now leads that game, 49-45. I hear that Chicago in the December is lovely. Handoff. Mario runs around to the outside. Stiff arms a man, and that should be a face mask. Yeah, there it comes. Nigro is tackled by the face by Isaiah Mitchell.
Negro on the carry, Brewer on the stop, flag on the field.
Yeah. Now they call it on Brewer. I thought it was Mitchell. It's Mike Brewer. Second 15-yard penalty on him. Nigro had his hands on the face mask too. Things are getting ugly out there. That is the 10th penalty for 160 yards for Wesley. Wesley with 10 penalties for 160 yards and 5 turnovers.
First down and goal. First down and 10.
1st and 10 for Del Val from the Wesley 29-yard line. Dante Simmons gets the carry. Simmons for a couple. Shamir Vessels knocks him down.
Simmons on the carry, Vessels on the stop. Pickup of about 2.
Now the Aggies are going to get things even on the all-time list. And this one, you got to go way back for what this feels like. But a number of years ago, Delaware Valley played Albright for the conference championship. I think this was 2009 or 10, and the Aggies just absolutely obliterated Albright, 49-3 or something like that. Delaware Valley hosted Albright in the second round of the playoffs over Thanksgiving weekend with a potential trip to Mount Union on the way, and got ransacked in the second round, and that felt like a shocker, and so does this one. Simmons with the catch, 30-25, and Simmons carrying a couple of defenders all the way down to the 20. It's a pickup of 6.
Takes the ball to about the 21-yard line.
Vessels and Brewer with the tackle again, and the Aggies are enjoying this one.
Make it 3rd down.
How about a Del Valle North Central National quarterfinal, just like they drew it up? Final 4 minutes in Allentown. Muhlenberg is all over Brockport State. That's now 42-0. Salisbury continues to lead by 2 scores on Union. That's 55-41 with 4:52 to play. Dante Simmons on 3rd and 3, and he has got the first down. Dante Simmons, a junior. He'll be back next year. Aggies' graduation losses will be mostly on the linebacking core, 3 of their linebackers. But the Nobile brothers will be back for 2 more seasons. And all of the secondary will be back. And Anthony Tedisco is an all-conference linebacker. He'll be back. So the defense will be very, very good for Del Valle again next year. Offense at this point, who knows? But that's what we said coming into this year. And they're up 38-10 here in the second round of the playoffs. 1st and 10 from the 17. Tempers seem to have settled down here a little bit. Handoff goes to Nigro. Nigro bumps off a couple of guys, stays on his feet, and he's up to the 10 and down to the 5. And Nigro ricocheting off of guys, and you can tell Wesley is just completely disheartened at this point. The Wolverines, a season that started with a blowout win over Division II Franklin and Pierce. They won the thriller against Del Valle in quadruple overtime. They were not ranked entering the season for the first time in a long time. And then their defense pretty much had to carry them. They had a number of games that were very close, overtime victory over Montclair. They had a game against Kane that they were trailing at the half. Blowout win over Christopher Newport to end the season. And it looked like things were better. And now they're on the wrong side of one here. Nigro for about a yard, if that. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 4 with 8 minutes to play. Start of the 4th quarter in Alliance. North Central 49, Mount Union 45.
Take a 2nd down and goal from the 4.
7:37 and counting here for Delaware Valley, who's headed into the national quarterfinals. 38-10 lead on Wesley. Trying to salt this one away. Dan Allen comes in motion. He's got 3 touchdowns. They're going to hand it off to Dan, and Dan has got one on the ground now. Touchdown. Dan Allen, his 2nd rushing touchdown of the year. Yes, that's a play they really run. They end around with their tight end, and the Aggies increase the lead to 44-10. Now the Aggies fans have used this cheer throughout the season. I did not think we'd get to hear it here today. Whose house? Our house. As Wesley is one of the few places in Division III where noise can be an issue, because the plants are close to the field and they're normally very loud, but obviously not right now.
7:19 remaining in the ball game. Del Valle 45, Wesley 10.
Now, this has been a tremendous experience for Del Valle here. It started with a touchdown to Dan Allen, and then he had 3 more. Touchdown on the bomb on the trick play. That is easily the play of the game. Aggies with a 3rd and 1 at about the 42 of Wesley. With an empty backfield, with Fontana in the backfield, then they switched Fontana out to wide receiver, had a wide receiver come in and take the snap, pitch it to a 2nd quarterback who was also lined up in the game as a wide receiver. And then that 2nd quarterback, Bohannon, threw a wide open bomb to Dan Allen. Allen caught another one on the doorstep, and that was just a going away present for the senior there to let him run the ball on 2nd and goal from the 3 for the touchdown. Kick, line drive, bobbled, picked up, and tackle Yusuf Aladinoff makes the stop. Yeah, that's exactly right. I echo what that woman just said in the fans. Please don't fight. Just get off the field, guys. It's 45 to 10. Keemon Coleman with his second kick return. Yes. Yeah, fans, even the fans who were feeling pretty tense now are had their fill of this. I'm sure we're going to get offsetting penalties yet again.
The first half of next game. Now, if it's a second time this year, then you'll be done for the whole game.
It's on Wesley. The Aggies are still running their first team defense out there. Again, you've only got 58 guys, so it's not like they've got dozens of options, but a little surprised that those guys are still out there. Penalty was on Marquise Normand. And it'll be 1st and 10. And the Wolverines now 11 penalties for 175 yards and 5 turnovers.
All right, Wesley will put the ball in play at their own 20-yard line. 1st down and 10. 7:14 remaining in the
Wolverines with the ball. Matt Levy telling me that the only games he can remember that this is the best postseason win for Del Val since the 04 win over St. John Fisher. That was the best Delaware Valley game I've ever seen. That was and the 2010 win at home over Salisbury, which was impressive, but that was a 4 over a 5, which may basically be what this one is too, is there goes the Delaware Valley defensive coaches. And again, just did not expect this to be the scenario where the coaches can pack it in with 6:36 to go because they're up by 35. Wolverines have John Mullen in at quarterback. Drew Fry is going to have better days. He's just a freshman, but took one on the chin here today. And Wolverines are going to go 5 yards back even farther because here's a delay a game penalty. Yeah, 12th penalty for 100. Delaware Valley has not exactly been choir boys. 6 penalties for 101 yards.
The play clock should have been reset to 25 seconds. Please put 25 seconds on the play clock. Both clocks will start on my signal.
Wolverines are just going to get a do-over here, which at this point I think is fine.
That's what they're talking about. He should have pumped it up.
2nd and 10 for the Wolverines. Actually, 2nd and 13. Mullen takes a snap under pressure, and he will run. And now he will throw it, and to the wrong team. Jameer Prevard with the interception. And Prevard pushed out of bounds at the 41, and there is turnover number 6. Fourth interception of the day. Can't fault Wolverines for trying something there with Mullen, who I believe is a senior, and he's going to come out. He's going to try and go out swinging in his last game. Yeah, well, Mullen is a senior from Bayonne, New Jersey. Sheik Harvard, Jameer Prevard, Blaine Netterman, Billy Walsh. All with, those two are. Let's go with asking who we want. Let's go with Anthony Fontana. And, let's go with Billy Walsh as the Aggies fumble the ball here on 1st and 10. Looking to our left there, and I'm not just going to say this because he's in the booth, but Wesley will be better again next year because they will have a great running back, E.J. Lee, who missed this year with the last 7 games with an injury. And the Wolverines are always very, very good. This is a program that doesn't rebuild, it reloads. But for Delaware Valley, this one is especially sweet. quadruple overtime loss earlier this season as Daquan Bohannon is now in at quarterback and all kinds of reserves out there. Wavell Wint gets the carry and goes backwards for 2 yards. Delaware Valley will be, we are fairly sure, on the road somewhere next week. You won't know for certain until tomorrow. North Central 56, Mount Union 52, 12:53 to play. Muhlenberg has advanced on. That is 42-0 final. Mules annihilate the Golden Eagles, and they will play Salisbury next week. Salisbury, 21-point lead with less than 3 minutes to play against Union. Points aplenty here. Bohannon drops back, pass thrown, catch made, tackled after a pickup of about 11 on the play. It'll bring up 3rd and 2 as that's one of the Dorseys. No, it's 82, Will Molba.
Yeah, I can grab my guys.
Yeah, Will Molba, the sophomore wide receiver with the catch.
Lundy on the stop. Brings up 4th down and 2.
Yeah.
Dalval goes into punt formation.
Yeah, is that?
Simpson is
Miller on to punt it away. Cortez Simpson back to return the punt.
I feel like down here might be less commotion with everyone going out this way.
Miller
I'm gonna shoot for that far corner.
kick is taken by Cortez Simpson, who is tackled by Ryan Norton eventually. Yeah, Knighton rips him down at about the 9-yard line. So Norton, the senior tight end, still out there. 3:47 to play. Delaware Valley with just an utterly dominant performance here, 45-10, although again, 6 turnovers and nearly 200 yards of penalties will make it hard to win any game.
Wesley will put the ball in play.
Wolverines will come back out.
At their own 10
John
yard
Mullen at quarterback, second series for him. Mike Creedle split to one side, Ruhan Peel to the other. Aggies second team defense at this point. Handoff goes to, is that Norman, as he's swarmed by a whole host of Aggies.
Pendleton on the carry.
That's Pendleton, the freshman, who's, gosh, he is huge. Is he a freshman? Holy cow. Freshman running back from Philly. He is enormous.
It's
built like a truck. 2nd and 6.
2nd down and 5.
As you can hear the fans discussing the Mount Union North Central score. The fans here are very knowledgeable. Their team has been in the semifinals a bunch of times, so they know who's good. Handoff. And pickup of a couple yards before the entire Delaware Valley second team unit makes the tackle again. Credit Aaron Myers with the tackle there for Del Val. Aaron, a transfer from Brockport State. Well, so many weekends, the only game that's not close is the one Mount Union's playing. This week, it's actually the opposite. The only game that is close is the one that Mount Union's playing. All the others are multiple scores. And handoff up to the 25-yard line. Abe Mansoray with the carry for the first down. The other game, Salisbury has victorious. That game is final now. Seagulls 62, Union 41. So 21-point game there, 42-point game in Allentown, 35-point game here, 34-point game in Texas, 35 in Chicago, 27 in Iowa, in Wisconsin, and the only other game will start in California. So the only game that's close is the one with Mount Union, who are the umpteen-time national champs or whatever they're up to now at this point. 2 minutes. Handoff goes to Mansoray. 1st and 10. He gets hit hard. Mansoray is taking a punishment here. Tackle made by Jack Fitzgerald for Del Val. And Trent Fries.
2nd down and 4.
Delaware Valley soaking in this one. 45-10. Our Marcellus Pack with an 88-yard touchdown run that looked like it might bring Wesley back, but the Aggies responded with a touchdown drive. And then Pack fumbled the kick return, and the Aggies took that in for a score. 2nd and 4. Handoff to Pendleton, who cuts and runs into his own tight end, Ricky Hess, and then is tackled. Tackled by Ethan Wright for Del Val, number 94. 3rd and 4. That's not Pendleton. That's 44. That's Normand. Yeah, it's Marquise Normand. Normand's a load, too. 3rd and 4. Mullen fakes. Yeah, he's going to run. 35, first down. And John Mullen with some good heart there. Grinds out about 8 yards, does the senior. Tackle made by Del Val's Yusuf Aladinoff. 23 seconds, and that, unless Wesley wants to run another play, that will do it. Delaware Valley is going to improve to 11-1, and their lone loss on the season is a distant memory now. As the team that beat them in quadruple overtime, 24-18, falls at their hands 45-10 in the second round of the playoffs. Dan Allen with 4 touchdowns today, 3 through the air and 1 on the ground, and the players, after what was a testy, emotional game now with embraces on the field. And again, a lot of these guys, whether by virtue of their playing careers or social media, do know each other. And Delaware Valley with just an astonishing victory here today. Final score, 45-10. Final numbers, Delaware Valley in a game. The Aggies on the touchdown by Allen. This one flipped and turned into a blowout, but the numbers were not that much in favor of Del Val for the most part. 388 yards for the Aggies to 349 for the Wolverines. The Aggies 173 yards on the ground and 215 through the air. Wolverines pretty much the opposite, 228 through the air and 228 on the ground, 121 through the air. Delaware Valley, in terms of turnovers, or in terms of time of possession, with a 32-27 advantage. Aggies with 17 points off of turnovers. The Wolverines had 6 turnovers in the game. First interception didn't result in anything. Second one was a fumble. That turned into 3 points. Third one was an interception. That one didn't result in anything. But the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth, by the time they piled on, the Aggies had an extra 2 touchdowns off of turnovers and ran away with this one. Anthony Fontana, 18 for 30, 164 yards and 2 scores today. Daquan Bohannon, 2 for 2, but the 41-yard touchdown on the trick play, that was easily the play of the game. Dante Simmons, an efficient 12 for 68. That's 5.7 yards per carry. Thank you very much. Mario Nigro, 11 carries for 48 yards. 3 carries for 29 yards and a score for Ezekiel Ennis. And Anthony Fontana carried the ball for 20 yards. Through the air, best receiving day of the year by far for an Aggie individual. It was Dan Allen, 6 catches, 128 yards for 3 touchdowns, and he ran the ball in for a touchdown. Dante Simmons, 5 for 30. Aaron Nelson, 1 for 15, and everyone else follows from there. Marcellus Pack, 15 carries for 163 yards and a touchdown. He had 88 yards on one play, but he had 80-something yards before that. Drew Fry had a rough game, the freshman, after throwing for 7 touchdowns last week and no interceptions. Today, 12 for 23, 121 yards, no touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Aggies with the victory improved to 11-1, and for the 4th time in program history, Delaware Valley is one of the final 8 teams remaining. They will play at a site to be determined. There's 5 minutes gone in the 4th quarter, and North Central leading Mount Union 56-52. If Mount Union wins, they will definitely host. If North Central wins, they will probably host. So the Aggies will be spending next week very likely in either Canton, Ohio, or Chicago, Illinois. But for today and for the rest of this holiday season, or the rest of this holiday weekend, they're spending it in the ecstasy of a second-round dominant playoff performance. Thanks for everyone here, for Allison Malung and the rest of the folks here at Wesley. Thanks, of course, to Dave Duda and Chris Elliott and everyone at Delaware Valley Athletics. We're going to get one more game somewhere next week. 12 o'clock kickoff, although it might be 1 o'clock on the eastern side. If that game is in Chicago, it'll be 12 o'clock local somewhere, and it'll be Delaware Valley advancing. One last time, your final score, Delaware Valley University 45, Wesley College 10. Have a good afternoon, everyone.